6:30, so we'll call this regular monthly meeting of the Stratford Town Council. Call the meeting to order. And the first item on our agenda tonight, first of all, I'd like to welcome everybody. It's nice to see so many residents out to our council meeting. We don't usually get this kind of turnout, so it's great to see everyone tonight. Thanks for coming. And welcome to everyone watching online and everyone that's here, staff and council. The first thing we want to do is acknowledge the land upon which we gather is the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq, and we pay our respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people of this territory, past, present, and future. The second item on our agenda is a declaration of conflict of interest. If any member of council or staff have a conflict with any of the items we're going to be dealing with here tonight, please declare so now. If not, we'll go to item number 3, approval of the agenda. One of our councillors, Councillor Cox, he said he's going to be about 45 minutes late. So he asked that he's chair of Recreation and Arts and Culture, and so I just thought that we would ask that be moved further down in the agenda if that's possible. So. Yeah, if we could move up maybe finance and technology, make number 10, number 11, we could swap recreation, culture, and events for item number 11.
Yeah, Your Worship, I was wondering if it's possible if we could move both 10 and 11 to after planning, if that might make more sense, given that we have some planning items and we have some folks in the audience, residents in the audience tonight. If we could move 10 and 11 just to after planning, is that?
So, Councillor, I think it's a very well-intentioned request, and I think normally I'd be all for it, but Councillor Cox did indicate that he wished to speak to the planning.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yep.
I do think it's a good idea, but I think it's important that Councillor Cox be given that.
Very fair. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, if someone would like to move a motion with those changes, thank you, Councillor Chandler.
I'll second it.
Seconder?
Okay.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried.
Corporal Painter.
Oh, Corporal Painter. Welcome, Corporal. Thanks for coming. So the next item on the agenda is business arise, or the minutes of our regular monthly meeting of August 13th, 2025. Any additions, deletions, or changes to those minutes that anyone would like to suggest? If not, I'll propose, or I'll entertain a motion for approval of those minutes. Second? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. And there's no business arising from the minutes that we're not going to be covering here tonight. CAO Crosby? No? Okay. Presentations from the floor. Is there any advance notice of any presentations from the floor? No? Okay. My report is in your package. Just a couple of highlights. Attended a kickoff event for the Eastern Canadian Girls Softball Championship Tournament. Provided some remarks on behalf of our town. It's a pretty impressive tournament. There were teams there from Quebec, Ontario, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. I'm not sure if Newfoundland was represented or not, but there was a great turnout, a lot of people there. It was great. It was hosted at McNeil Field, so great turnout. We have been meeting with Immigrants and Refugee Support Association regarding a proposed housing and commercial development in the town. I met with MLA Jen Redmond and her staff member to discuss Stratford issues, and participated in a meeting with the Honourable Gregor Robertson, the Federal Minister of Housing and Infrastructure, along with MP Kent MacDonald, to discuss federal funding for the Community Campus Wellness Center. I think staff did a great job on everyone did a great job on putting that package together, that presentation. That was well received, and we hope to hear good news on that front as soon as possible. There was a great announcement at the Michael Thomas Waterfront Park to announce federal funding received through the Canada Communities Building Fund. Great turnout from other municipalities as well, people from Summerside and Charlottetown and Cornwall, as well as a couple of members of Parliament, including our MP, MP Kent MacDonald, and the Minister of Agriculture, the Honourable Heath MacDonald. Yeah, those are my highlights. Any questions or comments on my report?
So, Mr. Mayor, I just have one, and I did note it as well in CAO Crosby's report about that meeting to discuss potential funding for the Wellness Center.
Is your thing on?
Hello? Hello?
There you go.
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Just on the question on the funding with respect to the Wellness Center, I see certainly in our agenda here for this evening, we're certainly progressing with our investments within the community campus in terms of lighting and seating of fields. And I'm wondering if there are any commitments made from any of our federal partners in terms of what we might be able to see over the next couple of months in terms of potential funding.
Nothing concrete, Councillor, but there are indications that there were positive signals, I guess, received, but I can't give any details in terms of, because I don't know. I expect that there will be something positive announced in the near future, but when and what and how much, I don't know. But I would look forward to that, and I think we're all anticipating that with, we're really eagerly anticipating getting that certainty put in place so we can move ahead with our wellness center. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll ask Chief Administrative Officer Jeremy Crosby to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. My report is in your package. A few of the highlights are very similar. I attended the meetings with you, and I believe they were very positive with Kent MacDonald and the Honourable Gregor Robertson. I also attended the Charlottetown Area Chamber of Commerce event, roundtable discussion with the federal minister after our meeting that day, and there's representatives from a lot of municipalities and business leaders and such, and it was a very positive meeting. But I think we pointed out how there is a need for additional funding in the communities, and we have to invest in infrastructure in order to support all the housing that's happening. So I think that was well received. And as you indicated, our meeting with the Immigrant and Refugee Services Association, we had a subsequent meeting with them as well, and I think it is a very positive development and something we want to continue to work with them, but we're waiting for further information on that file, so looking forward to that. I met with the Director of Finance and staff from Town of Cornwall. As you know, we both share our insurance program, and we were looking at additional coverages and making sure that everything was up to date. And finally, along with the Director of Planning, I met with a group looking at to establish a manufacturing facility here in Stratford, which we're working with them very closely to see that that can be established in our business park, hopefully. So my report is a little lighter than normal. I did have some vacation, which very enjoyable in August, but I'm willing to answer any questions.
Just a comment that I forgot to mention that MLAs Burridge and Redmond were also attended the meeting with the Immigrant and Refugee Services Association.
Yes, and they were there for the meeting with Kent MacDonald as well.
Yes, that's right.
So,
yeah.
And they're very positive towards the Health and Wellness Center, and we even got a letter from the Premier indicating that they're supportive of funding. So, all the stars are aligning. We just need the final one with the federal government, and we're off to the races, hopefully.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move on to Safety Services. I'll ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Ron Dowling, to give his report.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Safety Services Committee will be meeting next week, so there is no report resulting in our summer break from the committee, and to give the committee members some time to enjoy the summer. We will be resuming next week. The reports from the RCMP, occurrence reports and the mayor's report are included in the package. And if Corporal Painter's available, I'll have him come up, and if there's any questions after he gives his presentation, then please let him know.
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
All right. So during the month of August, Stratford RCMP recorded 346 occurrences, with 327 of those founded or still under investigation. Overall, that's lower than the last month's occurrences and higher than the August 2024 stats, where we recorded 273 occurrences. We had 159 occurrences related to traffic enforcement, making up for just over 48% of our monthly occurrences. We issued 44 summary offense tickets and 52 warnings during the month. There were 13 summary offense tickets and 25 warnings issued for speeding within the town. On 2 of those SOTs issued, speeds were listed at 119 kilometers an hour and 122 in the posted 50 kilometer zones on Kinloch Road and Bunbury Road.
wow.
It's pretty quick. Forgot to change that. We charged one driver for impaired driving over the legal limit after they provided samples over 3 times the legal limit of 280, 280. 9 motor vehicle collisions, 18 select traffic enforcement program files, and 19 theft files. 13 of them were related to gas stations, and no charges were laid on any of them. Just we had members attend Milestones Daycare to meet with the children, show them the police car. They were able to jump in and get some stickers, whatnot. We also had members attend the Fill a Bus event at No Frills. We made some proactive patrols. The proactive patrols, continued on Kinloch Beach after receiving calls of people drinking in the area and leaving cans and garbage all around. And then we conducted 9 step files, resulting in 4 tickets, 12 warnings on Stratford Road after learning there was speeders in the area. So after that complaint there, so very busy summer. Like I said, the last couple of months I've been in here, but statistic-wise, the calls have gone down. Work-wise, nothing has changed.
And a lot of that's probably because of your good work.
Yeah. No, it's been a good effort. We're getting a good effort from everybody, and still lots of traffic around even today. Now we're into September with the kids in school and a lot more traffic around. So we'll see how the next little bit goes here with the new construction, the congestion, if it's gonna bother the traffic there. We've been speaking with the schools, and just kind of, it's the wait and see game. We'll see how it works, and we'll just try to be in the area and enforce it as much as we can, and just be visible, right? So that's it from us. You guys have any questions?
I do want to thank you for, excuse me, all the work you did with regard to school bus infractions, people passing school buses with the red lights flashing. I think you sent an email to council and you indicated all the work that you're doing. I think it's very impressive that you're taking all those steps to make sure that people understand that they're not to pass school buses with the red lights flashing, and your visibility and your surveillance and all those sorts of measures are, I think, really resulting in a much safer journey to school and home from school for most of our children in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been it'll always be a topic of discussion, school bus safety and pedestrian safety. But just to touch on that, we've been in contact with one of the bus drivers that, for those of you who don't know, but we've been in conversation with one of the bus drivers who does the routes here in Stratford, and talking about school bus safety, and just basically more or less it came down to how we can support them and what they want from us, where they want us. They're able to tell us the areas that continue to be dangerous. They're the ones that see it, right? We could follow them. I had a conversation with them and I said to them, we could follow you, 4 to 5 days a week and there'd be nothing. And the day that we don't, that's when someone would blow through your lights. And he understood that. So, but it's just to be out there and be present. He expressed over the last couple of years, it's changed. So like Georgetown Road used to be really bad, and now it's been much better, and now it's more on like Kinloch Road and Bunbury Road. So we'll just we have some initiatives planned, and just be present during that morning and afternoon rush, especially whenever the kids are present and getting off that bus. So we'll keep in contact with the bus drivers, and I think we're going to try to do like a bi-monthly meeting with them just to make sure we're on the same page is the game plan. So
That's good.
yeah, and we have the traffic section also helping out, so we'll,
And we really appreciate the work you're doing with the youth
Yep.
and the Mayflower seniors and all that type of work. It's that outreach work I think is really significant in the community.
yes, yeah.
So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Can I ask one? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor.
Go, Jill.
Oh, you sure?
Ladies, go.
Just one quick question, and I know, or I hope that you know, over the past, I always am very thankful for the outreach work that you do in building those connections with youth, seniors, or vulnerable populations. Somebody had asked me, and maybe this is available through the schools already, but do you ever put on any sort of outreach to parents of teens in regards to driving under the influence, like just that sort of stuff? I know there's things directed to kids in schools, but I
Yeah.
wonder if we do anything for their parents.
We have done parent consultations, I guess, or meetings, but it's been more the focus of like online safety, that kind of thing, because it's been in the Stratford schools. I'm not sure if like Corporal Parsons, if they do anything in terms of the traffic section related to like for the parents. I know they go in and they do sessions with like the driver's ed, kids who are taking driver's ed and stuff like that, but it might be something to, I'll look into that. I'm not 100% sure if that's...
And that might not be quite, I said that kind of in the mix of things, but certainly, the legalization of marijuana, that increased frequency of driving under the influence while impaired by cannabis, and then the accessibility of, this sort of habit to kids, and the dangers that are associated with it. So more of like drug,
Yeah.
education and for parents, because certainly I wasn't aware of how common and increasing its use has become.
Yeah, they used to do the DARE program years back, and they stopped doing that. So I'll get back to you on that
Okay.
with a solid answer.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if we have anyone doing that or not.
Thank you.
Just, Corporal, let me remind you that September 27th, the Cheryl Duffy Marathon, the walk.
Yes, I have that on my calendar.
Yeah, on the calendar. I know a lot of members turn out, and Cheryl, a former member of the RCMP, and very pivotal with the youth center, starting a youth center. Of course, we have 60 children down there now. It's great to see, and I hope we get a big turnout from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah,
We'll see you there. I'm working that day too, so we'll be there.
Yeah, and I just another thing, I just probably if you noticed, the house, the Mullins house, the Holland house on the bridge is down.
Yes.
So that derelict building was an eyesore for many years, and
Yeah.
a beautiful building, but
Yes.
beautiful building today, and the trees, and anyway, it's down, safe for like people getting in there, and public safety wise, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was certainly becoming not only an eyesore, but a safety risk to a lot
Yeah.
of people, and we were getting more and more calls over the last 6 months that people are in and breaking stuff, and it's we've done the walkthroughs looking just to make sure nobody's inside, and it was not solid, so yeah, it'll be nice to
It's nice, it's down there today, and they're putting the topsoil on it, so
perfect.
it's good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good news. Yeah,
Yeah.
great news, yeah.
If I may, your worship, Corporal Painter, the excessive speed, would that border on stunt driving where they could be impounded, or is it something that, I know it's it's a,
Certainly could be, yeah, actually, in saying stunt driving, actually, we did have a file on August 2nd, where a car crashed into the front yard of the detachment, and I charged both of them with stunting. They were flying down the road, lost control coming into the roundabout, pretty near hit another vehicle. But yeah, you're right. So stunting. So what they were charged with there was speeding, excessive speeding. It was like, what was it, 70 over and change. So, and their vehicle was towed and impounded as well. So you probably could go either way. You could do the violation ticket, or you could go stunting, depending on who's around, if they're putting others in danger.
yeah, no, it's great to hear the impounded part. It's just like trying to nip that behavior in the bud when we can. I've been coming through the roundabout going towards my place and have had people, on two wheels going through that roundabout. So good to see that it's serious, and when people take it seriously, and they're, it's a significant fine, no doubt, and a lot of points for that. So I'm
Yes, yeah.
Please,
Well, that
but-
speed's ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
you
no
know,
need.
you can't drive that on the highway, let alone
No.
through town on a 50-kilometer-an-hour streets.
No, and that's one area where there's a gentleman either pushing a stroller or hauling a little buggy with a kid in it
Okay.
on the side of the road.
On
And
Bunbury or Kinloch?
on the Trans-Canada Highway.
Oh, on the highway.
To get up towards the roundabout, so I'm terrified. I don't even want to look most days. But yeah, it'd be nice to see that things in that area are really clamped down on, because I'm afraid for not only that person, but folks that are trying to get across the crosswalks in the morning.
Yes.
I have a bigger vehicle, so I can see them, but folks come behind don't really want to stop. So yeah, it'd be nice if we can get active transportation out there at some point. Especially, like, it's scary to watch a gentleman walk. But thank you.
Any other questions for Corporal Painter? Well, thank you, Corporal, for your presentation and for all the terrific work that you and your members do to keep our community safer. And I'll echo the Mayor's comments in relation to the very comprehensive response to the complaint in relation to school bus safety. And it's heartening to know the extent to which your service goes to address that issue. And I think over the course of coming months and weeks, we'll also be portraying to the public some of what is being done in that regard. And I think people don't often realize that even if they don't see a police car or a police officer, doesn't mean that the section isn't being watched. I know that you had someone essentially posing as a worker that was keeping an eye, and the police were a ways off in radio contact. So, I just say to people, there's nobody that knows you can't pass a school bus when it's stopped with the flashing red lights going. If they do so, they're doing it intentionally 99.99% of the time. And, it just shouldn't be done. The same as impaired driving. I don't understand why there's still such a prevalence in PEI of impaired driving, but you're doing road checks, you're charging people, and just keeps happening. And same with the speeding. It's one thing to go a few kilometers over, but another thing to go 70 kilometers over in a small community like Stratford. So it's great that you're out there and doing the work to keep us all safer, and we appreciate it. And thank you for your report again.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Corporal.
Next, Your Worship, the Humane Society report has been circulated. If there's any questions in relation to that, there's nothing anomalous about it. It's pretty much consistent each month in relation to patrols. And we have 109 community patrols to date. And there are several occurrences, cases open, cases closed. So if there's any specific question anyone has, I can address that.
I think every month, it's like electricity. When things are handled and they don't cause problems for the town, it's good, but you don't notice it on a regular basis. But I think that contract is good value for the town, good value for the money we spend.
Yeah, and I'll remind people that if they have a dog, that they ought to have it licensed through the town.
Yep.
They're not very expensive, and if the dog does happen to get away, if they don't have a microchip especially, then they can be returned very quickly to the owners rather than being picked up and sent to the Humane Society. Okay, being no questions there, Your Worship, we'll move on to the Crossroads Fire Company calls. It has been a very busy summer, and as you can see from the report, in August, 34 call-outs, 23 of which were from Stratford. In July, there was 36, 27 from Stratford. June, 27, 22 of which from Stratford. In August, the numbers were up even more overall than usual, at least year over year. And that was due in part to a lot of calls that were received with people smelling smoke, and that, of course, was the wildfires in Nova Scotia. And people were smelling that and doing the right thing and calling it in, out of concern that there may be a fire nearby, especially PEI, knock on wood's been spared fires to date. And hopefully that'll continue on. But it is, we're in a situation where even a spark or a thrown cigarette can ignite a fire, and we certainly don't need that and add risk and peril to people's homes. And so they have been busy. If there's any questions in relation to the statistics that have been provided, or report provided, I'll answer those.
If I may, Your Worship, not really. I mean, speaking of the increased calls, but just a question on the emergency, the rescue boat, and just with the traffic recently on this side of the bridge. And my understanding is we still don't have a suitable launch for that boat on this side of the bridge. And I know Bottom Mason Road is a bit of an old launch there, but really I have a small boat and I can't get it out there. I think maybe sea-doos and kayaks, but just given somebody travels this every morning where folks are full in the roundabout, they don't, the roundabouts are full, and an emergency vehicle is trying to get not only to Charlottetown but to Stratford and through there. I think we need to prioritize a boat launch somewhere in this side of the bridge for them, for the rescue boat. Because if they were faced with someone in the water and they're waiting 25 minutes between Sobeys and Andrews or Stratford, that's not going to be helpful. I know there's other ways around, but I just think it'd be something that we can look at with government to try to prioritize some kind of boat launch. They have a nice one at North River at the bridge there, nice concrete and well, it's just done right. And I think we should have one here. So it's not on the fire company or so much on the town, but just a push between all of us to try to get a suitable slipway kind of there. I know they can't leave the boat in the water due to the material it's made of, but to be able to get it in quickly when they need to, because they can cover with the new boat and the high horsepower motor, they can get a lot of places. But if they can't get to the water, that's a problem.
Yeah. That's a very good point. I know the fire company would love to have a launch within Stratford, and I see our CAO was making notes as you were talking there, so we'll follow up on that with the CAO and through the province, and hopefully we'll get something in place sooner rather than later, because you're right, time is of the essence generally in those response calls, and to have to do excessive travel in order to be in a position where you can be in the water is simply a waste of time and could prove tragic at some point down the road. So hopefully we'll be able to move on that sooner than later. Are there any other questions? Being nothing, Your Worship, that will complete my report for this month.
Okay, thank you for your report, Councillor. Okay, We have now moved recreation, culture, and events further down in the agenda. So the next item on our agenda is finance and technology. I'll ask the chair of that committee, Councillor Jody Jackson, to give his report.
Thank you, Worship. Just before we get going, I'd like to welcome Denny Bergevin to the audience. He's one of our stellar members of our finance committee. Great to see him here. I know it's probably not for the finance item, but another one. But again, really want to thank our members for all that they do for our committees and what they give to the town. So I'll try to be brief. Just a little update on the finance department. Utility letters going out on first and second notices. Another round of disconnects are planned in October, so hopefully we can get those settled up. Meeting tomorrow with MRSB on the audited financial statements and just reviewing those. Staff have met with Innovation PEI around the community campus and the business park. Staff are looking into different types of financial incentives available for commercial development and looking what other municipalities do in that regard. Working on agreements for multi-year financial donors for the community campus for in-kind services. So there's lots of different ways to look at how we can fund that, and they're being very creative. I see staff are working, reviewing information on the fire department on the options for the purchase of a new fire truck. I know it's something that we've been looking at, and the fire department has been really, fire company's been really keen on securing, so it's nice to see that still moving forward. A couple other things, so looking at putting together the annual KPI data. Staff are working with communications on that. More training on town suite accounting and just general day-to-day items, so that's never a dull moment in the finance department. But if there's any questions on that, we haven't had a meeting this summer, but we are next week, so looking forward to that. And if there's anything anyone wants to send to the finance committee, by all means, do so. So that's just on the...
Just a clarification, Councillor,
Yep.
KPI is
Like
key performance indicators, which are accountability, makes everybody accountable and sort of monitors performance against what our goals are.
Part of being open and accountable government. I know there's a lot of work been done on that, Wendy, and finance staff, and then the whole team here, making sure that we're open and accountable to our residents. So good work continues on that front. Any questions? I know that the reports are in the package, but in the essence of time, unless there's any questions on those, I will push forward to the next item on the agenda.
Just got one, Councillor. This done the fire truck or the ladder truck.
Yep.
Do we have a time there? I know with usually buy our trucks are from the States with the tariffs and everything else in effect or not in effect. We don't know. But I wonder, what is the timeline there, Jeremy?
Okay.
I had a meeting with the chairman of the board today, actually, and they have ordered the fire truck. It's a new fire truck. They did get they found an alternative supplier, so it's quite a bit less than what we originally quoted.
Great.
So that is on order, and I think we're looking at somewhere in 2026 for delivery. We're still working on a funding model that we may be able to help out with, but the province, I believe, has given them a really good interest rate. And they did figure out, with regard to the taxes, that they are able to get those PST and HST amounts back for the vehicles. So there's more to come on that, and we will be discussing this further at our next committee of the whole meeting, but an update on that. The truck has been ordered, and like I said, it's a new truck, and with the other supplier, it's quite a bit less than what we were originally looking at. So hopefully we'll be able to help out a bit, and we'll be able to absorb a bit of that cost.
That's great.
That's fantastic, and credit to all of the folks on the fire company and to our chair of safety services and the staff here for helping to push that, keep that on the agenda. Great to see a new truck, because that will essentially buy us 25 years of service or 20 years and then recertification. So the timing of that too, as CAO said, will coincide with essentially the expiry of the old truck, I think is next year. So just really, really pleased to see this. And thank you to staff, council, and government and the fire company, obviously, for finding a way to make it work. Really excited about it. Sorry,
That's great.
Deputy Mayor.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think that was a good example of everyone working together to get a good result. There was a lot of discussion leading up to this, and as you mentioned, Councillor, the current ladder truck is its best before date or its expiry date when it'll no longer be covered by insurance is around a year from now. So it's great that they're able to get this in time for that eventuality. Thank you for your report. Okay, any no questions? We'll move on to, I guess we're supposed to, the next item is planning.
Yeah, I think in the interest of time, I did give Councillor Cox some time, and so I'm going to do a couple of things here, Mr. Mayor, just to.
Infrastructure.
How long do you think? I have to leave by 7:30 is the only thing. Thank you, Councillor Gland. I don't imagine you'll be overly long, will you?
Well,
You won't be overly long.
no.
All right. Okay. Perhaps, Mr. Mayor, if it's
Let's
okay.
it's the seniors committee. I'll belong there.
Perhaps if we move to
Okay.
number 13A,
Okay.
the infrastructure matter, and then cycle back to number 12, if that's okay.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Your Worship. We didn't meet,
Oh, sorry, yeah, we need a motion to change the order in the agenda.
okay, sorry.
I can
Move it?
that.
Well,
Yeah.
Thank you.
while we're on it, I guess, Councillor Chandler, if you wouldn't mind also proposing a motion to introduce 12I as well, which is another resolution that is somewhat late breaking. It's resolution PH 048-2025. I don't expect you to repeat that, but I just, if we could just handle all that in the same motion.
Okay.
It's- Yeah.
So the motion is to add the resolution that Councillor McDonald just said,
Thank you.
and move infrastructure, which is 13, now ahead of, or taking the place of number 12.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
seconder? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried.
Okay, infrastructure report. Thank you, Your Worship. Staff have been busy managing projects at varying stages, coordinate with consultants to finalize design work for several projects, including the Myrtle Street Extension, Sachem Sewer Lift Station upgrades, and Reeves Estate Water Main Distribution Replacement, sewer lift stations and standby generators in Shepherd Drive parking lot. Preparing a tender for the rehabilitation of sewer main to prevent inflow of groundwater into the sewer system. The method is being cured in place. Pipe lining, which is trenchless technology proven to be very efficient and economical in past projects and completed in this manner. Infrastructure preparing RFPs for design work to be completed over the following winter months for projects to be constructed. Next spring, including Ducks Landing multi-use pathway project and the Harborview Drive sewer redirection project. Application will be submitted this month to the municipal strategic component fund for projects to proceed next to construction season, including Sachem sewer lift stations upgrades and Cable Heights water station upgrades. With fall approaching us and hopefully, wet weather, I don't want it, but fast approaching, we remind our utility customers to take advantage of the sump pump redirection rebate program. That this $2,000 rebate is available to have their pump disconnected from the sanitary sewer system and redirected to the exterior of the structure, while also having battery backup system installed on their pump, the sump pump. We encourage customers to call for more information on the eligibility of the program and sign up with there's still funding available. Infrastructure staff have been busy with the following: maintenance, landscaping, grass cutting continues on all town-owned properties. Completing painting of the exterior of the Robert Cotton Center, bylaw inspection and follow-up is ongoing. Gathering data for KPIs, developing a task assignment app and GIS with the help of Isru Gutru Atha. Anyway, coordinating repairs to Mistine system at Michael Thomas Park, which is nice. Coordinating oversee water main repair across the Trans-Canada Highway. Sanitary sewer gravity flushing has begun and will continue into the fall. And sewer and water component maintenance is complete for the season. The hydrant flushing is underway soon. Water and sewer inspections and meter installations and water turn-ons for new development are ongoing. Ongoing inspection and maintenance of water and sewer systems and facilities. Managing ongoing customer to resident inquiries and concerns. During the month of August, there was 2 minor sewer blockages that did require service of jetter or / flusher truck. No damage was incurred by the property owner. And that's my report for August, for September 10th, 2025. Any questions?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any questions?
Just one comment and quasi-question, Councillor, Deputy Mayor, and I appreciate that the Ducks Landing multi-use pathway project is going to be proceeding, having secured the funding for that. It's been on the works for a while, but obviously you can't proceed with those types of projects to that extent without the appropriate funding.
Yeah.
Another thing that was raised, and I may have put on the committee of the whole, but I just want to put it out there for thought for now, is at the fire company meeting this week, there was some discussion around our fire hydrants and the color markings on the fire hydrants to indicate pressure. And there's some question as to whether some fire hydrants that are marked, or as to whether some fire hydrants are appropriately marked given the pressure they can or cannot deliver. And it was suggested that the town some time ago had testing done, but of course there's a lot of development since then. And apparently there's instruments that you can, the town could purchase and do their own compression testing on fire hydrants. But that's something we'll bring up at the Safety Services Committee and have the chief discuss in more detail. But I'm just wondering if anyone's familiar with that, or perhaps the CAO had some discussion with the fire company in that regard.
Yeah, we'll go Jeannie. Was it the pressures are down due to the heat?
Well, in some instances, they get a surprisingly larger amount of compression from ones that are marked as lower compression. So okay. I'm not sure if it's just a case where they haven't been, newer hydrants haven't been color coded yet, or because they come with I think a silver tops on them, and then in accordance to the pressure, they're given a specific color, or signed a specific color. Yeah.
We have been communicating with the fire department on this topic for a few weeks now. They've been requesting updated maps for hydrant locations and pressure, so we've been working with them. We do acknowledge that we haven't done the pressure testing in the last few years. We do have hydrants added that haven't gone through that process yet, so we do need to update that information, absolutely. And we will be carrying some budget in the new year to plan for that.
And I'll just add for peace of mind, Your Worship, the fire hydrants all work and they are flushed every year by the town, so there's no issue with that. It's just that when the fire department arrives, they'd like to know just by the color what their capability is and whether they need additional tanker trucks or whether they have to call in through an inter-service agreement on other tanker trucks from the area to carry water in. So I'm glad to see that that's, I realized that you were working on the mapping of the hydrants and such, and there are issues as well with looping that are longer term issues and aren't easily resolved because some areas are separated from main lines, and you know they do have hydrants, but they're not hydrants that would last for a very long time supply wise, and so the fire department takes tankers to those areas. But I think it's just something I'm glad to see that you're very much on top of that, as you always are. Yep. And to see that that is being looked after and planned for going into the new year. Thank you.
I have one more question for you, Jeannie. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I know we had chatted about this as many of the councillors received numerous comments from residents in regards to the Grand Fondo race that took place and impacted traffic here on a Saturday. And I just wonder if you could just provide a high level. Going forward, typically, there would be different communication, and we would like residents to know that.
You're absolutely right. We should make that public, I guess, knowledge in case anybody hasn't been made aware. Ultimately, we obviously followed up and communicated with the province after that unfortunate event. They did release public information, which we shared as well, acknowledging that there was a little bit of a hiccup on their end. The information did not get released. There may have been some decisions made outside of normal processes or processes that weren't followed up or followed the way they should have been. So moving forward, we are being told that will not occur. We'll always be notified of any delays or interruptions that may affect our residents and commuters here in the town. So we trust that this was sort of a one-time fault that won't occur again.
And it is not typical, and I know the information usually comes when there's construction or,
Yes.
you know, that sort of thing.
We
People are
try
given
to
lots of
communicate and stay in touch, of
advance
course.
notice,
Mhm.
where it's the bridge and a Saturday and
Yeah.
the duration of time
For
that
sure.
it.
I was one who was very surprised when I get stuck in the backlog.
Yes, okay, thanks for that.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
to comment on other things like the roundabout on Stratford Road, all the information's out there. I believe the signs are up. Forwarding to people and information and so on. And I know on the highway there, the guardrail by the industrial park on that side, there's signs up there and telling people about next week the roundabout and so on, up and on McKinnon or Glen Stewart, I guess, Stratford. So
As I said, I know it's not typical,
No.
but it impacted like a lot of people, and it just was kind of, yeah, we didn't quite have the answers at that
Yeah.
moment, so thank you.
yeah.
Councillor Jackson?
Yeah, just two quick comments. One, really want to thank Jeannie and staff, whoever worked with the province to get the guardrail initiative going. I know they're out there today. I think it was
Yeah.
Eastern Fence was doing a lot of work in the area that was not done before, so it's nice to see that. I also want to thank Charlie and the staff, resident who had taken us up on the sump pump redirection rebate. A very smooth, seamless process to get the town to go look, approve, and I'm not sure if they're in the rebate part yet, but like just encourage folks, if there's a little bit of money left to do that they should do it. It's good for not only the town, reducing water going into the sewer, but it's a very easy process. So thanks again to Charlie and staff involved in that too.
Thank you. I'll make sure I relay that information. And just touching on the guide rail, we had asked that they review installing that along the soccer fields. They have informed me that that hasn't been assessed yet, but it is still to be done. So they are still going to review that to see if it is justified when looking at their guidelines and requirements. So we'll have another update on that hopefully soon.
That's great.
Thank you very much.
And
Any
just
other comments or questions?
Just something to add, as Chair of Infrastructure, I know this summer we had a great summer with our summer staff, students and so on. I was down there a couple times speaking to them, and now they're all done, going back to school and so on, university and it's, probably a lot of people in this room had their first summer job with a town or a city or so on. So, but I wanted just to shout out and thank them, and I know they did a lot of work. They're painting, and you look at Cotton Park and so on, the barn there, not the barn, the building itself, and different stuff they did, and cutting grass. Well, they probably had a break in the grass, but they were there. They had a great summer, so it was good. And Joe and his staff down there led them pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, thanks for your report, Deputy Mayor. We'll, I guess, now move on to Planning, Development, and Heritage. Chair of that committee is Councillor Jeff McDonald. I'll ask him to give his report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I guess we're on items number 13 now. Just briefly address our building and development value summaries for the month. Certainly a more quiet month in August with a little bit of single detached dwelling value as well as some accessory structures, but certainly a much more quiet month and what's rounding out to be a much more quiet year for 2025. I mean, certainly notwithstanding the fact that in 2024, our development values were somewhat skewed with the $36 million worth of institutional development value through the school. So certainly we are always going to be less than 2024, but even with that into account, we're somewhat off the pace. That's understandable, cycles happen, though we are always looking forward to receiving new applications and seeing where the town decides to grow into. So I will move into our first discussion of the evening, which is 13C, which is resolution PH 037-2025, OP 001-2025. This is a resolution to create general amendments to the official plan and our designation map regarding the Stratford waterfront area, which is a first reading. It comes from Planning and Heritage and is moved by myself as chair of that department. And the resolution reads as follows. Whereas the Planning Department is proposing amendments to the Town of Stratford official plan to permit additional mixed-use designations to the adopted 2008 Core Area Subsidiary Plan. And whereas this official plan amendment stems from the Housing Accelerator Fund initiatives to encourage more residential, commercial, and mixed-use development where possible within the town. Whereas this general text amendment has been developed in conjunction with RZ 004-2025 zoning bylaw amendments. Whereas in accordance with the Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45, planning staff circulated written notice being 124 letters of the amendment request to all property owners within 150 meters of the boundaries of the subject property or properties and placed multiple signs on the subject land. Whereas in accordance with the Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45, notice of this amendment application and public meeting occurred through the placement of an advertisement in the local Guardian newspaper on 2 separate editions, being July 12th and 19th, and was also posted on the town's Facebook page. And whereas a public meeting was held on July 21st, 2025 at 7 p.m., and with the town's consultant Upland Planning presenting to those in attendance. 9 attendees stood up and asked questions of the presenters. Comments were recorded in the minutes and was live streamed on the town's Facebook pages and YouTube. And whereas residents were given until 4 p.m. on July 25th, 2025 to submit their comments, and planning staff received 13 letters from residents before the deadline, and 1 signed petition after the deadline with various concerns around parking, its proximity to an existing mature neighborhood, traffic congestion, and other general concerns. Be it resolved that bylaw OP A01-2025, a bylaw to amend the Town of Stratford official plan 2014, be hereby read and approved a first time. This resolution does bear the recommendation of Planning, Development, and Heritage Committee on August the 4th, 2025.
Okay, do you have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Okay, discussion. Maybe to be fair to everyone and provide an opportunity for everyone to comment on this, I'll go around the table, and I'll start with Councillor Dowling.
Just,
Oh, sorry,
Mr.
oh, if
Mayor,
you'd
no,
like to
no,
give-
and I'm not looking to, no, I think it would be appropriate to begin with Councillor Dowling. I just want to just discuss as a matter of procedure. Now, we have 13C, which is the resolution for the official plan, but we also have 13D, which is the resolution for the zoning and bylaw amendment. The 2 items are inextricably tied, though they do address different legal I guess, requirements as well as 2 separate documents. I'm wondering, and I'll just check with our CAO here, if perhaps I might read Resolution PH 038-2025 for the zoning bylaw amendment at this time, have one discussion on the 2 items together, but we will have to have separate votes.
Okay.
Is that agreeable?
I don't know if that's,
Yeah.
yeah. I think procedurally that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it just, rather than having the same discussion perhaps twice and confusing the issues, it might just assist everybody, just so that we're talking about
Okay.
not just the amendments to the official plan, which is more of an aspirational document and more of, a guidance, and really talking about as well what the zoning changes might be. I think just
Please
to,
proceed.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'll also read into the record at this time Resolution PH 038-2025, RZ 004-2025, which is a general text and zoning map amendments to Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45 regarding the Stratford waterfront area, which is the first reading. It comes from Planning and Heritage and is moved by myself as chair of that committee. Reads, whereas the town is proposing the rezoning of 28 lots from the general commercial, highway commercial, low-density residential, multiple unit residential, and waterfront residential zones to the waterfront mixed-use zone, as shown on the maps attached to this resolution, and revisions to the waterfront mixed-use zone in the town of Stratford, zoning and development bylaw number 45. Whereas this amendment to rezone stems from the Housing Accelerator Fund initiatives to encourage more residential, commercial, and mixed-use development where possible within the town. And whereas this rezoning and text amendment has been developed in coordination with the OP 001-2025 official plan amendment. Whereas in accordance with the Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45, planning staff circulated written notice, 124 letters of the amendment request to all property owners within 150 meters of the boundaries of the subject property or properties, and placed multiple signs on the subject land. And whereas in accordance with the Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45, notice of this amendment application and public meeting occurred through the placement of an advertisement in the local Guardian newspaper on 2 separate editions, July 12th and 19th, and is also posted on the town's Facebook page. And whereas a public meeting was held on July 21st, 2025 at 7 p.m. and with the town's consultant, Upland Planning, presenting to those in attendance. 9 attendees stood up and asked questions of the presenters. Comments were recorded in the minutes and was live streamed on the town's Facebook pages and YouTube. Whereas residents were given until 4 p.m. on July 25th, 2025 to submit their comments, and planning staff received 13 letters from residents before the deadline and 1 signed petition after the deadline with various concerns around parking, its proximity to an existing mature neighborhood, traffic congestion, and other general concerns. Be it resolved that bylaw number 45W, a bylaw to amend the town of Stratford zoning and development bylaw number 45, be hereby read and approved a first time. This resolution bears the recommendation of Planning, Development, and Heritage Committee on August 4th, 2025.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Oh, thank you. Okay, discussion, and we'll have discussion on both. We'll have 2 separate votes, but we'll have discussion on both. It's usual customary, I guess I misspoke a little bit earlier. Usually the chair of the committee presents. Do you prefer to do that, or do you want us to go around the table?
I guess technically, I mean, that's usually how we've done it, customary, like you said. I mean, I don't think there's anything set in stone. If it assists, I can certainly provide an overview, and Mr. Carnell is here as well.
That's right.
And it may be just of assistance.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do that. Let's have a presentation of why we're doing this and why it's being proposed and what the issues are and that sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll have Mr. Carnell here.
And then we'll go around the table.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. So, yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So we are considering 2 separate resolutions, though they are inextricably linked. One is amendments to the text of our official plan, but also the other amendment is where the rubber hits the road, so to speak, with respect to amending our zoning and development bylaw and to really bring the aspirational language of our official plan into practice. And the bottom line is that what will occur here, should this resolution pass, honorable members of this council, is that a number of different zones which are present within the waterfront vicinity will all be consolidated into one uniform area of zoning, which is our waterfront mixed-use zone. Currently, our waterfront is undergoing, certainly there can be no doubt, a transformation, and it has been nothing short of encouraging to see over the last number of years. We've seen an area which used to play host to sewage lagoons be transformed into a wonderful waterfront park with a signature boardwalk going through it with viewing vistas and lighting. And it's only one phase of what this town has invested into that area for its residents. But really, to make sure that those investments do not go to waste, we recognize that that waterfront area that's controlled by the town and owned by the town, there's a large number of parcels, I should say, which are owned by private entities. And currently, all of those privately owned lands are subject to various different zones, some of which are compatible, some of which are not. And it is an opportune time, considering some of the resources that we've been able to access, to really take a look at this area, to bring it towards, I guess, a future that's more in line with what we vision as a town. And that's where the amendments to the official plan come in. But it's also really to go part and parcel with the significant investments that we make within that area, so that it's an area that citizens of this town can be proud of, and it's an area of this town that will encourage investment and visitors too. And to that end, what I'm wondering if we could bring up, Ms. Watts, is the rezoning plan, which shows the map currently of all of the various zones which are present in the area. So, and I think this is a great example of exactly what illustrates the opportunity that I think the town is presented with, is that currently there's a few areas which are within the waterfront mixed-use zone already, but many others are subject to various different zoning areas which all carry different uses potentially, but also different technical requirements in the form of setbacks. And what we're looking to do is consolidate this to all waterfront mixed use. And the benefits to everybody is that it'll have a uniform development structure and uniform development scheme, and it will really help unlock, I think, the potential of a lot of this area. And it's also to assist, I think, this area, because right now it abuts upon an R1 zone, which is Harborview Drive and Southport Road. And certainly that's noted to be a residential area. And we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure that there's an adequate buffer between that R1 area as well as the waterfront mixed use area. And currently, part of the concern is that those properties that abut upon the R1 zone have virtually non-existent setbacks. And we want to make sure that within the waterfront mixed use zone, we're bringing in a development standard that respects the R1 zone beside it to promote some more, I guess, aggressive setbacks to create more of a buffer between that area and the new proposed waterfront mixed use zone. So that's an overview of the why. And Mr. Carnal is here, and I might ask him if you can talk about the how and some of the technical details that are present in the waterfront mixed use zone and what might be permitted and what might be changing from the current zoning area to the new waterfront mixed use zone. Oh, if I didn't, this is Mr. Scott Carnal, who is our long-range planner with the town, and he's been working extensively on this project with Upland for quite some time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. So this is a very much large parcels rezoning. We have a number of commercial C1s and C2s, the R3s, and we also have currently what is rezoned as waterfront residential and waterfront mixed use. So the idea is looking at, like Councillor McDonald said, a more cohesive area that provides more access to commercial positions, more residential above those buildings or standalone apartments, an opportunity for townhouses, and then some supportive surrounding parking for the waterfront park. So currently, and actually one correction, there's a parcel indicated on Michael Thomas behind the CJ building, which does say WR, but that actually is a waterfront mixed use right now. So that's one correction. So yeah, so currently in this area along Shepherd Drive and Michael Thomas Way, the waterfront residential and waterfront mixed use do permit residential development. They do permit mixed-use development with commercial at the ground level and residential above it. There is what we would indicate as townhouses along the Shepherd Drive, which are currently permitted, and then also, so they're all currently permitted. A lot of that development is currently there. Development can go to 4 stories in those areas at this present, and we've seen also development gone up to 5 stories already on the Michael Thomas Way. The changes that would happen would create just a more of a one zone that captures all that is already permitted. The idea is also that like Councilor McDonald said, is that currently we have 0 side setbacks. That means the development can go right up to the property line. So to correct that on the parcel that's right on the end of Shepherd Drive, we're next to the trail, the future trail, we're proposing a 33-meter setback, which then would accommodate basically a long corridor view from Shepherd Drive all the way down to the waterfront. So that's potential for parking would be accessed into the building there, but no development would be right up against the property line. We're also proposing to maintain the properties that are on Shepherd Drive against the low-density residential to be townhouse only, or townhouse style, which is currently permitted, but also limited to 3 stories in that area, whereas currently you could go to 4 or 5. So we're putting some things in there just to make it more of a buffer, like you said, in regards to against the low-density residential. So the 4-story, we maxed the 3 stories on that level. And there is one parcel there, which is currently R1, would be proposed, included in this rezoning for supportive parking for the waterfront park. And then any visitors accessing the services in and out the area during the day. This is just creating a much more walkable community. It's bringing services and restaurants and commercial opportunities into Stratford, which are currently not there, or not as much as we need it for all the services. We increase public transit would be helpful in this area as well. We'd have more residential. That would probably be less parking required units. Parking would be reduced for departments as well, and similar to what is currently permitted in the core mixed-use area and the urban core. That would be 0.5 stalls per unit in the apartments. Townhouses would still remain, I think, 1.5 per unit. And then on the other side of the Stratford Road, we're also creating where it currently is commercial and a mixture of apartments, just to create one cohesive area that is consistent with what's happening there. It's more of an opportunity for new services, and as like I said, and yeah, that's hopefully a good overview. It's a big project.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Carnell. So from what I understand, though, and just so I'm clear, is that for all of these proposed areas that we're looking to rezone, these are all privately owned lots as they exist already?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything on the waterfront, like the Shepherd Drive and Michael Thomas Way, everything is owned by an independent owner. There's only one parcel outstanding, which is the one right on the corner of Shepherd Drive and Michael Thomas, that is still owned by the Charlottetown Area Development Corp. And is up for sale. Yeah.
Okay. And so, again, we've been talking about bringing uniformity to this area. So just so I understand, I mean, the green space that we do have there that the town controls, and that will always remain green space, but
Yes.
There's no guarantee that, should this rezoning not happen, that any of this area would remain green space.
We are not touching the green space in any of this application, no. Like, this is future, the green space is dedicated as green space for the future.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's not on the table at any point.
Okay. So, I think I'll close my comments at this point in time to say that, we recognize that there's a lot of different permitted uses within the waterfront mixed-use zone, but from what I understand, there's nothing necessarily within the new mixed-use zone that is not currently permitted in one fashion or another in any of the zones that are present in this area.
That is correct.
Okay. So there's nothing new being proposed in terms of potential uses?
No.
Okay. And from what I understand as well is that, during your consultations leading up to this vote and up to the discussions that you've had with Upland, that there's been a lot of comments from planning professionals and architects and other individuals who have already invested in this area, who view this area as somewhat underperforming in terms of a zone and an area. And I'm wondering if you could speak to that at all.
Yeah, as I said, the parcels are currently owned, and they've been owned for a year or two, some of them. And just because of some of the parking requirements that we have, in those areas, it means that that the land use for parking is much larger than it needs to be in regards to some of the product types that they're looking to build. So it's made it an expensive option, and I know don't always want to speak to regards to the cost of stuff, but it does limit what's possible in regards to development.
Okay, so I'm just going to close, Mr. Mayor, by stating that I will be voting in favor of these first readings on both of these two resolutions. The main reasons that I'm voting for them, just so I can state it for the record, is that we recognize that most of this area is already owned privately. The areas that are owned publicly are owned by the town, and we're doing everything we can to invest within those. Our investments are not finished, and we will continue to develop the waterfront park area in a fashion that the whole town and surrounding areas can enjoy and take advantage of. The areas that are privately owned, we want to impose some more stringent standards on setbacks and parking so we can respect the citizens that are there already, and to bring some uniformity to that area, but also to encourage some investment in that area in a way that's going to be a credit to the community, and really to kind of unlock some of the potential of this area. Some of the areas are really under transition, and they're a credit to the town in terms of our waterfront park. However, there's some other areas within the waterfront, I think, that are certainly, for lack of a better word, they become decrepit, and they are falling apart at the old motel grounds, at the corner of Southport Road and the highway. Certainly there's a building there that's been frankly derelict now for a number of years, and I think it's time that we really unlock the potential of this area for all of the citizens in this area. So for all of those reasons, I will be voting in favor of these resolutions here today. Those are my comments, Mr. Mayor. I'm not sure if you want to go to which way you want to go.
Well, I just want to make sure, has anyone got any questions for Mr. Carnell? I know I do. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I guess this may not be the time, but on that R1 that we talk about, I know we were talking about daytime use and parking. That's the one area that is a little harder to, it's a little different, but is that something that would be at another time considered to be like just a daytime to address some of the concerns of the residents in the R1 area, that is not, a nighttime hangout, that if this is a parking lot, I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but that it's respected that is not, we make sure that is compatible with the community, the area there as much as we can.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Carnell before I go? Okay, just wondering, Mr. Carnell, with regard to the public meeting and the concerns that were raised, are these changes, do these address, for example, the setbacks on Shepherd Drive there? Previously, as you said, people could build right on the lot line, right up next to existing residential areas?
On the sideline, on the side of the property, yes.
So now with these changes, those setbacks will create a buffer. There'll be a active transportation trail as well as a setback from that required for anybody building in that area. Is that correct?
The main adjustment with the setback is the property that's on the corner of Shepherd Drive and Michael Thomas. That one is the one of the more of a concern because it did go right up to that parcel, which is a thin green line there. So we made that intent to put a 3-meter setback along Michael Thomas Way to basically stop building going into that area. Yeah. The other properties have the regular setback of 3 meters at the back and 6 meters at the back, I think, and 3 meters at the front. So the general setbacks.
And with regard to the parking area, my understanding is. My understanding is that there was a concern raised about the proximity to residential properties.
Yeah.
And there's been some mitigating things that have been proposed or that are being proposed as part of this redevelopment.
So with the parking, which is still in the design of, there is a 1.5 meter buffer around it and has to be a treed buffer around the parking lot. And I think just because of the design of the parking lot, it actually becomes a 6 meter buffer on two sides of that parking lot, so that does give ample tree protection from the neighbors there.
Okay, anything else? When the boardwalk is complete, there'll be a boardwalk down to the end of Michael Thomas Way, connecting with an active transportation trail that goes up
That is
from
correct,
Shepherd Drive
Yeah.
all the way up to Stratford Road, right?
Yeah, I think believe it comes up at the end of that Shepherd Drive, and that wraps around in the park area there. That is a proposed trail. Jeannie could probably speak more to that, but yeah, there'll be a trail that will take you all back to Michael Thomas there.
Okay. All right, those are my questions. Any other questions for Mr. Carnell? If not, thank you. Okay, we'll go around the table. I'll ask Councillor Dowling to give his comments.
Sure, thank you, Your Worship. And just for the record, I think it's always great to have Councillor McDonald start off and give a commentary in consultation with staff, because a lot of times questions are answered in that. And one question I was going to propose is the unification of those resolutions. I'm glad to see that has been all put into one commentary from everybody. I struggle with this. I'm not in favor of the development for one reason, as Council well knows in particular, and that is the inclusion of the parking lot in an R1 zone. I was never in favor of that parking lot when we proposed purchase of the property, and that's not going to change. I'd hoped that the parking lot itself would be a separate issue and public would be able to comment specifically on that and council consider it independently. But at any rate, it is tied to the resolution. And what I do appreciate is that in speaking with residents, there's a couple of key issues came up. One, of course, being the issue of noise that would stem from the development. And you know, we do recognize that current zoning would allow for much, if not all, of the concerns in relation to noise as it stands now. With the public feedback, or since we received public feedback, there have been a number of changes made in relation to setbacks and buffer zones, which I think would benefit the issue of noise. And the other key issue is the loss of waterfront property. And really, you know, with the zoning currently, we're not losing anything in relation to the change in zoning because as a matter of right, people would still have the ability to develop their property in a residential and commercial basis as it stands. And I think extension of the boardwalk up to Harborview or up to Shepherd Drive would allow for full access from the residents in the R1 zone and all citizens to walk the waterfront and enjoy the park as it continues to grow in amenities over the next coming years. It truly will be a jewel of a park within the community. But bottom line is, I guess another thing, Your Worship, just not to belabor the point, but another thing, it's unfortunate. It's always great to have hindsight, and we all, after we meet with the public and after we discuss it at council and amongst ourselves, we always find things that could have been done differently. And I think when we accepted the document from the consultant with the representation of the development as was portrayed, it caused a lot of concern among people in as far as how they envision that area to actually develop, as opposed to, for example, using actual architectural renderings to represent the capability of construction within the area. Would have given people and council a much better idea of what that area would look like if it were completed to the full extent of how the consultant portrayed it. And that's another issue, of course. The consultant has to portray it as this is the absolute maximum of what we can put in here. The reality is it's very unlikely it's going to be developed to that extent, but we can't say that absolutely it's not going to be. But having said all that, fundamentally, I think, there's a lot of positives even for the residents in comparison to what exists now and can be done now compared to what would be put in as considerations under this proposal. But with the parking lot there in particular, I just can't support the motion, and I will be voting against it.
Thank you, Councillor. Very thoughtful comments. Thank you. Councillor Chandler?
Okay, this is a tough one for me, because, well, like you guys, I care a lot, and like Councillor Dowling said, I do think that the presentation of the information could have been done differently, in that if someone had not been engaged or aware of the previous zoning or what had transpired, was new to the area, etc., this would have come like a giant gut punch, really, to see what they thought was there versus what we may have shown them could come. And I don't believe that that was an accurate depiction. So even for me, as I still consider myself a new councillor, to understand that many of these things were already permitted in your close proximity to your home, which is a key factor in trying to disseminate this information. So the plan that we saw at the public meeting, it wasn't 0 to apartments everywhere. It was that there was already many of these things permitted. And then this was kind of a very, very general depiction of what was being proposed. So like many of the residents there, I did not love that presentation, and it really made me think, like I am 50 years old, I grew up in Southport, my parents still have the same house on Glen Cove Drive. I have been witness to all the change from childhood till now. And some of it I've opposed. Other things I've benefited from, in that I can run to Sobeys instead of having to make a trip into University Avenue for groceries. I can do many of the things, get my hair done, et cetera, in our town. And when we do have more residents and more density, we do have access to more services. That's just the way it is. That being said, I do care about what you guys, the residents, have expressed. I do think that this creates more thoughtful development, even though I don't like saying that, because if it were up to me, it's just me, I wouldn't want to see the development at all. But I do think that this really does streamline things, that we're still being mindful, that it does create a larger buffer zone for the residents that back on to this development. Is that right, Councillor McDonald? In theory?
Yeah, I think that's...
What's the biggest change? So if our old zoning, the way it was, permitted 4 to 5 story, what's the biggest change they can see here? Because I know for a lot of us, even the terminology R1, this, like, it doesn't just rhyme off everyone's head. Like me, I'm one. You guys are very close to this, but if we could just say, what is the biggest significant change in this rezoning?
The height-wise, probably only 1 story. You can go up to 4 stories for an apartment within the waterfront residential and the current waterfront mixed-use zones. But you can also apply for a variance to go above that as well under current regulations. Mm-hmm. And the only reason would be to not approve that was that it was detrimental to the viewpoints and the area. So what we're proposing is that we have a 4 to 6 story apartment size in the more middle area. So that would be 4 stories up, and then you would have a setback for the top 2 stories to be set back a little bit. Mm-hmm. But we're keeping the townhouse properties along on the left-hand side of Shepherd Drive at 3 stories. So they won't be going, they'll be going down a story. That's what's current potential.
And as far as development goes, and I know where we've already indicated that these are properties owned by individuals as opposed to a big one conglomerate, right?
Yeah, there's 5 different owners, I think, in this area.
So when we looked at the visuals from the public meeting, in theory, it would be very easy to jump to, like, oh my goodness, there's going to be buildings constructed in the
fair.
next wherever we go, where that in reality is not the case. This is
It's a 20 to 30 year,
decades.
but yeah, there's lots of buildings that, especially along Glen Stewart and St. John, that are being built, and they probably won't be looking to knock down just to get one extra story anytime soon. This is more on those buildings that are coming to the end of their lifespan, maybe an opportunity to look at redevelopment. But there's also a lot of the parcels on the Shepherd Drive and Michael Thomas Way that have laid vacant for over 20 years, and they haven't, and under a current basis. So this would allow them to provide more of a cohesive development that is missing on the current zoning.
Right. And I know I've driven through other places where I look and see like, oh, there's this and there's this and there's this, and nothing seems to make sense. And my kids might even point it out. It looks, you know, a certain way here, and I can say that's because there was a lack of vision or a lack of zoning, and they just went up willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Where I don't really feel that's here in our town for the most part, because there has been a focus to place, you know, just thoughtful
For sure.
design. So yeah, I do really struggle. I still am on the fence with this, but I do oftentimes seek the guidance and the recommendations of the committee and those who are experienced and skilled and that this is their expertise. And I think that I would support it, and knowing I'm not making a big change, I'm seeing it that I'm making a more positive change for the people in the surrounding areas, because there will be those parameters for the setbacks, et cetera. Can you make me feel like I'm making the right decision? That's right. We're doing this because we feel it's better.
Yeah.
I think, you know, Councillor Chandler, I just need to touch on one thing you mentioned, and I'm really glad for you to bring it up. And I mentioned this, I think, in some discussions before this meeting, but I'll just put it on the record that one thing I think that I wish we had done differently, certainly at that public meeting, was, and I think I know what exactly the conceptual drawing you're referring to is, shows basically a uniform block of fairly large buildings, all dwarfing, I guess, anything else in the area.
And just
Yeah.
to add to that, it also showed like mainstays, like the gas station that we've gone to for
Right.
50 years, not even there. Like,
Yeah.
so it was very shocking because it didn't look anything like our town.
Yeah, and that's right. And I think, you know, if there's one regret, I think about that presentation might have been that, because I think it really did lend a false sense of what the scale and what this might look like. I mean, and I think, like either yourself or Mr. Carnell noted, I mean, that, I don't think it'll ever look like that, as you noted, because it's held by different developers and held by different interests, so I don't think it'll ever be that uniform looking, and further, I just think in our lifetime, I don't think we'll ever see it look like that. But, so that was a regrettable inclusion, and I do appreciate you bringing that up, and I think to disabuse anybody's notions, that's not going to look like that tomorrow, it's not going to look like that next year, it's not going to look like that in a decade. But it does just impose some more uniform standards. We're doing it because we recognize that this is an important area. We're doing it because we recognize that this land is already owned by other individuals, and that we want to make sure we're doing right by the citizens that live there now, but also making sure that we're making it as easy as possible to really introduce some attractive features to that area. So no, I do appreciate you bringing that up.
And if I could just say one other thing, it's more to justify,
Yep.
but when I lived in Halifax for a time period, we used to drive in a certain area. My husband, who was alive at the time, would point to this area and say, we used to play in those woods. And now it's apartment after apartment after apartment. And at that time, it felt like, oh man. But now my younger brother lives in that area, has a beautiful home, and they have access to unbelievable services off Larry Utech from multiple grocery stores, restaurants, et cetera, and they have wonderful quality of life.
Yeah.
So I've been a believer and a non-believer. I've seen the benefits, and that's why I'll support this.
Thank you. Councillor Jackson?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship, and hopefully we'll get back to Councillor Cox after we get around the table here, but I am in support of this. I was on council in 2017, 2018, and we had talked about the waterfront, and one of the biggest things back then was the plan for the shorefront. And we, you know, there was an inconsistency between the official plan and the waterfront plan, and We worked really hard, and your worship, part of that, like to come to a place where we actually gained back access to the waterfront, like where we could actually have a beautiful walkway and a I'm missing the word here, but like the boardwalk. And so, you know, these lands, CADC always planned in this area to have development. That was the whole point of developing these areas at one point. And you know, Councillor Chandler, like talking about we used to play there. And when I think of that comment, and I appreciate it, I think of when we used to go to the McDonald's at the Ronnie's Esso, or it wasn't Ronnie's Esso then, or we go to No Frills, and you would just smell sewage. So, you know, things have changed for the better in that area. We worked with the developer in that area to actually gain access to the shorefront, in front of the shorefront, to be able to have this beautiful waterfront area that is starting to take shape. You know, that was, this is probably my third plan I've seen for the waterfront with, you know, strong feelings on all sides about it. I think the biggest thing here is it does bring the standardization of the approach. This is private land. You know, folks have invested in this, and we've all bought in this town for various reasons and love it for what it is. You know, a little leery of things changing a lot, but by doing this, we're putting standards in place that it's going to be more consistent. It's not going to be a kind of a willy-nilly approach down there. And I want to go back to when the McKinnon land was for sale. This is back when I was in council last time as well, and we were fortunate to have a local group actually buy the property. The biggest fear then was we were going to have the property on the highway divided up into a million pieces, and you know, people be coming with different plans, and it'd be, you know, salt box apartments and different things. And so, you know, we've seen that kind of change, and we see plans for that area. I think this is a good plan. I think it's, like Councillor McDonald and some others have said, it's not happening tomorrow. I think one of the things that I want to mention too is hearing a lot of rumors out there about different buildings being demolished and apartments going up next week, and that's not happening. And to Councillor McDonald's point, this is, and even to Mr. Carnell, this is aspirational stuff, but this is putting in place standards. We're going to actually make sure that there is a transition. You know, it's not going to be single family to single family, but we're going to make sure that it is softened to the extent that we can. You know, all those things that are there right now are probably not changing anytime soon, but it is opening up the ability for folks to invest, to kind of put an actual waterfront kind of stamp and bring business in that area where it was, you know, like we've seen many different plans, and we've seen some that were, you know, this presents the best one. I think, but with the waterfront, like, kind of like to trying to catch a horse already way out of the barn. We, as a town, have grown so fast. We have Trans-Canada Highway going right through the town, so we are playing catch up, but in a good way to try to build this town. We have the campus. We're building thoughtfully along the highway, or we had planned for it. This is another thoughtful approach with a lot of good landowners down there, businesses. So I think this is actually our best opportunity. Again, with the noise, I understand that. And again, like, we have the Trans-Canada running right through there. Shellfish Festival, I can hear it at my place in Mount Herbert. I can make out the words to, you know, if it was Richie Bulger and Councillor Cox singing. It's one of those things that doesn't happen all the time, and we have to mitigate that as much as we can. We have bylaw enforcement, we have a whole bunch of things, but I think, you know, I'm long-winded here, but I think this is the best approach for us. I fully support it. You know, I look forward to things staying the same as much as they can right now, but with the idea that when things do develop, they're going to be done in a you know, a way that is consistent with the rest in the area and with our vision for the town.
Thank you, Councillor. Deputy Mayor?
This is my second term as council, and I come on here first, and I know everybody hates change, but at the same time, change is always good. For example, look at the council before us. We purchased 150 acres of land at community campus, and all the positive thing there from the community campus, which is going on now, the wellness center and so on. Then the Greys come, and then with the round, and they're putting building their commercial and apartment buildings on both sides of the road there, and then the roundabout with the government, and shutting down the traffic calming measures and bringing the lights from the roundabout down to the Esso, after transportation trail there, people walking, all positive things. And then we look at the waterfront, and it's a gem to us. I know some are probably disappointed about the condos down there, but we had, that was disappointing to some people, but they're doing well now. All the condos are filled and so on, and that building was moved back so we could put a boardwalk extend our boardwalk from the waterfront park right through and up to Shepherd. I know the parking lot has some concerns, but I know when we have our July 1st weekend and stuff like that, and when that development in front of the condos is developed, we won't have any spots at all there, because there's a development there proposed already in writing to happen in front of that condo. So all those good things, and of course, I mean, with the lagoon, the smell, I can remember the smell. I just said, and there's still people in this town that we should have kept our water station. Like, you know, our water solution, and the smell is gone. And now that smell you smell on Riverside Drive, you were pumping gas at the Irving down there, right? So that smell is gone, and all the positive things we've done, and that's from our management staff inside, and the vision we have, and how we work together, and how we you know, I have a lot of pride in Stratford, how we protect our residents. We don't do any, you know, anything around the corner, stuff like that. Everything's out front, and I know the residents had some concerns, but that area is going to be developed with the buildings, apartment buildings, commercial on the bottom. It's, you know, you're going to be able to walk. You know, I can walk from my area right across Cotton Park down, and then walk around a commercial and enjoy the waterfront at that part. So, I know it's you know, I was there a couple of days ago, standing on the step at Murphy's Pharmacy, Southport, on the sidewalk, looking down, and it's a generic building. It's sort of an eyesore, right? And I remember the Southport Motel there, and you know, and as a former member of the Charlottetown Police Department, I've been over here lots of times with Southport Motel, and how that place was operating, but I mean, all that place is cleared out now. It's going to be developed there, and developed on both sides, and I think it's all good. And I know people are sort of changed, but it's a good change. And I was living in the areas where there's people talking and have concerns. I agree. You know, it's changed. Sometimes it's nervous, but I mean, I'll tell you, with this group here in our management, we're always out front, and our change is just better for the town, and then moving forward, and giving them some homes and apartment buildings down there, and some people where they live, and so on. So I'm strictly in favor of it, and I think it's and people have got to understand. And we talked earlier, and Jeff and I and Steve, and this is going to take years and years and years. I mean, I might not be able to see it, you know. It's going to take years and years and years to develop. But now we have a zone, now we have proposals, now we might have interest. And then the way the presentation was, that Jill said earlier with Jeff Kent, and how it come out, and the buildings and so on. It's private land, it's land owned by different owners, and we have some land for sale and so on. But it's 5 to 10 years away. Like, it's, you know, it's developing 3 to 5, or so on, but it's great development to have, and you know, and then I always looked at a restaurant, nice restaurant down there off the waterfront by the condos. It'd be nice to have a lower floor restaurant, and be able to go in there and look at the waterfront, and look at the city of Charlottetown, and share that, and walk in the waterfront, and with the Michael Thomas and everything else, and seeing the city of Charlottetown and our neighbors across the bridge and so on. It's a sight. It's beautiful and everything else, and with the berms and everything else, we're going to protect everybody with berms for the parking lot and so on, and behind, and we're not going to approach anybody's property on the other side there. So all those things are in place to protect our residents on that side there. So I'm definitely in favor of your worship. So move on.
Thanks for your comments. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Cox, have you had a chance to consider this? And I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I know you missed some of the beginning of our discussion, but it's basically around, you know, development on the waterfront,
Yeah.
and you go ahead.
Okay, thank you, and I apologize for my lateness today, but we're selling a house, and electricians are hard to get in, so I'm sorry about that. I think I echo a lot what Jill said, and Jody, and also with Councillor Steve there, and it's amazing. I lived in Stratford since 1994. When I moved over here, there was no golf course. There's a big field across Moore's Pond there, and there was just empty lots all up my street, and there was no cul-de-sac at the top. And we moved here because I'm a guy born in Surrey, and I like to be a bit of a country, and I thought there's a little bit of country living here. And over the years, I learned it's not. So one of the things that, and I won't go too long in this, but one of the things that led me to run as a councillor was the garden home development behind my place. And there's a lot of things that were missed. I'm not blaming staff or anyone. I'm just saying that there were some things that were missed, especially on the fact that there wasn't really a sort of a buffer zone that could have been in a conversation there. And I went to meetings about this. I was opposed to it. I went to meetings about the garden home development, and then it came in. And then when they joined Aintree onto my street, I really didn't like that happening either. And but now the years have passed, and I see the development. I know some people have places in that development, in the garden home development, and every day I'm on the corner of Greensview Drive and Stratford Road, but every day I see seniors walking by with a healthy place to walk, with sidewalks and a nice area. And I see an awful lot of seniors out and about from there, and I've talked to different ones of them, and they're very, very happy living there and living with people at their age, and they find the community there really good. So I learned to look at it through their perspective, not through my perspective. And I had to look at this same way, and I think Jody said it, like, this is the third proposal. The first two, we didn't like the first, so we had to go back to the drawing board, and the third one really comes closer to what we want and what I would want to, and so I know we have to move forward, and this land is valuable land, and it offers a great opportunity for Stratford, and that's what I want for Stratford, is to have this great opportunity. Me selling my house was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, and because I've been on that street for 31 years, and I've been a part of Stratford, and I'm the guy who makes the rinks on the pond for 31 years, and more people are worried about me not making rinks than where I'm going to live. So, but I love Stratford, and I would never do anything to hurt Stratford. Never do anything to hurt Stratford. I don't care if I'm the only person voting against something, or I'm the only person voting for something. I'm going to go with what I think helps Stratford, and this here is taking a lot of time and energy for all of us to go through, and a lot of thought processes, and we talked to a lot of people, but I am fully in agreement with what's been proposed and what's been stated here. And rather than go deep into it, I think it's been stated by the other councillors, and I agree with that. So,
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Okay, I'll just make a few comments, and I'll call for the vote. First of all, I think each and every one of these councillors has a deep respect for all you residents and all the residents who live in the area, all the residents of Stratford. And that respect really means that we want to listen to what the concerns are and really try to do whatever we can to mitigate those concerns. If they can't be mitigated, then nobody around this table would have any qualms about voting against this proposal. But in voting for something, we really have to look at the whole town and really the needs of the whole town. This area has been transformed. There's been over $20 million of provincial, federal, and town money that's gone into the development of the area. And there's a really crying need for housing, and as was stated earlier, there's a lot of development. It would be, as I say, hodgepodge in different zones for the same area that wouldn't be compatible, that wouldn't fit, that wouldn't look very good. And this is consistency. This creates a uniform approach. And the thing to remember is that even if this zoning is approved, there's still development permits that have to be issued. There's still building permits. And those development permits have to meet standards. And those standards are set by the town. So whatever the appearance is, or whatever the place is going to look like, it's going to be at the discretion of this council and future councils for a long time. And as was already stated, this will result in probably very little change for the first 5 to 10 years, and maybe for the 20, 15, 20, 25 years, 30 years, there will be little change. But the developments that will take place there will have to all follow the same set of rules. For example, along Shepherd Drive, instead of a 4-story apartment buildings being allowed there, now it's townhouses, and the view plane will be protected, better protected, because they'll be moved. There'll be a buffer, a zone. There'll be setbacks that will allow view planes for the view. So I think this council has really done a good job, and staff have done a really good job in analyzing this and really trying to come up with solutions to concerns that have been raised by the residents. But I want you to understand that I know there's people that are opposed and have been opposed and maybe are still opposed, but we really respect your points of view and we really take them to heart, and we don't make decisions like this lightly, but we do it with a view to the future, with a view to the long-term vision for the town and for the benefit of the whole town. So I really appreciate all your interest and all your input and everything that you've contributed to this discussion. So don't think that you haven't been heard, because you have been heard. So with those comments, I will, unless anyone else has anything else to say, I will call for the vote on the first resolution. I guess, do I need to read that? So what number is that?
That is, it's 13C, Resolution PH 0372025.
Okay. I'll call for the vote on that one. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, the next resolution is PH.
Oh, that's fine, yeah, it's Resolution PH 0382025. No, that's fine, which is the zoning bylaw amendment, first reading.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, you have another resolution,
Yes.
Councillor?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Carnell. Appreciate your work on it.
And thank you, everyone, for everything that you've contributed, as I said before.
Next item, 13E, which is Resolution PH 044-2025, SD 014, Stratford Business Park Corporation, subdivision of 2 lots and a Myrtle Street extension. Comes from Planning and Heritage and moved by myself as chair of that department. And whereas an application has been received from the Stratford Business Park Corporation Incorporated to extend Myrtle Street and to create 2 new lots in the Stratford Business Park, as shown in a preliminary plan as follows. Lot 1 being 60 meters by 100 meters for 6,000 square meters, 1.48 acres, and Lot 2 is 30 meters by 72 meters for 2,760 square meters, or 0.68 of an acre. Whereas the approximate length of the Myrtle Street extension is 75 meters, or about 246 feet, and the 2 new water and sewer services will be constructed during the Myrtle Street extension. And whereas the Myrtle Street extension will provide lots 1 and 2 with public road frontage, meaning both lots, upon approval, can be sold or developed in accordance with the light industrial M2 zone and business park standards. Be it resolved that council grant approval to the Stratford Business Park Corporation to extend Myrtle Street to provide municipal water and municipal sewer services, and to create 2 new lots with frontage onto Myrtle Street, all within the Stratford Business Park, subject to the following conditions. 1, conformance with the overall site plan prepared by the Stratford Infrastructure Department entitled Preliminary. 2, that a plan of survey be prepared by a licensed surveyor licensed to practice in the province of PEI. 3, that the extension of Myrtle Street shall be designed in accordance with the provincial road standards of DTI, and that a subdivision road agreement shall be executed between DTI and the Stratford Business Park Corporation. 4, that the water and sewer system shall be designed in accordance with the Stratford Utility Corporation servicing standards, and that a utility agreement shall be executed along with the payment of all applicable capital contribution fees required by the Stratford Utility Corporation. And 5, comments to be received from DTI regarding stormwater management. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Planning and Heritage Committee as discussed at a meeting held on September the 3rd, 2025.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Oh, I think I heard you first. Thanks, Councillor Dowling. Okay, discussion.
So what I might ask is that we pull up the preliminary site plan just showing where these new lots are. So yes, here's where it's being proposed. The lot 2 as such is actually where the new road will be constructed on, and the new actual business park lots for sale will be lot 1 and lot 3. Lot 1's to the south, lot 3's to the north. Really what this is going to let us do is to really get this area zoned and subdivided up properly so that we can construct the new road. Or by we, I mean the Business Park Corporation, get a new road constructed in with a temporary turnaround with 2 new lots available for sale so that we can start to really fill in our vision for this area of the town, which will gradually, I guess, turn into an extension of our entire business park. What I cannot recall, and I'll prevail upon our staff here, there's the temporary turnaround, but I don't recall what the ultimate terminus of that road will be, if there is one, or if it will be extended any further than that in the future. That I cannot recall.
It's temporary for a reason, the amount of road we can put in at this time
Okay.
for this specific development. So there probably will be an extension at some point in time, and that temporary turnaround will be taken out and the road extended.
Okay. Thank you. That's the overview, Mr. Mayor, of what the proposed resolution aims to do. I don't know. I don't know if there's any questions or comments from any of my fellow councillors, but I'm in support of the resolution because it really does kind of extend our aims and goes in the direction we want to go in.
Okay, any comments or questions? Okay, call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Next one is 13F, which is resolution PH 045-2025 SD 004-25 from CMLMT Holdings Limited, requesting a consolidation of PIDs 190173 and 529545 and the extension of Swallow Drive, creating 2 new lots as a preliminary major subdivision. It comes from Planning and Heritage, is moved by myself as chair of that department. Reads, whereas an application has been received from CMLMT Holding Limited to consolidate parcel numbers 190173 and 529545, which is approximately 1.98 acres in total area, and to extend Swallow Drive, thereby subdividing the proposed new lot and creating 2 new lots for development within the medium-density residential R2 zone. And whereas this resolution only deals with the consolidation of 2 subject parcels of land, the extension of Swallow Drive, and the subdivision of the proposed new lot, and not the approval of the future use of the land for medium-density residential development. Whereas as part of the application, preliminary servicing, stormwater management, and erosion and sedimentation control plans have been submitted and preliminary comments from the Department of Transportation and the utility have been received. Be it resolved that the preliminary approval be granted to an application SD 004-25 received from CMLMT Holding Limited to consolidate and subdivide parcel numbers 190173 and 529545, 1.98 acres in total area, into 2 lots, subject to the following. conformance with the consolidation plan of survey prepared by Mantha Land Surveys Incorporated, file number 24-C-29, drawing number M-24-320, dated October 21st, 2024. 2, that a stormwater management plan be designed by a licensed engineer using low-impact development guidelines to be approved by both the Department of Transportation and the town. 3, that an overall grading plan be designed by a licensed engineer to set the finished floor and pad elevations for each of the lots in coordination with and including the proposed paths of drainage for each lot to be approved by the town. 4, that an erosion and sedimentation control plan be designed by a licensed engineer using the town's erosion and sedimentation control guidelines to be approved by both DTI and the town. 5, that the extension of Swallow Drive shall be designed in accordance with the provincial road standards of DTI and that a subdivision road agreement shall be executed. 6, that the sewer and water systems shall be designed in accordance with the Stratford Utility Corporation servicing standards and that a utility agreement shall be executed along with the payment of all applicable capital contribution fees required by the Stratford Utility Corporation. 7, that the developer shall enter into a subdivision agreement with the town to be registered to the property at the cost of the developer. 8, that the developer makes an agreement with Canada Post and meet Canada Post's requirements for establishing community mailboxes in new subdivisions. 9, that all other relevant provisions of the Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45 are met. And 10, that the preliminary approval shall be valid for a period of 3 years from the date of Council's decision. This resolution bears a recommendation of the Planning, Development and Heritage Committee as discussed at a meeting held on September the 2nd, 2025.
Okay, do I have a seconder? Councillor Cox, thank you. Okay, discussion.
So yeah, so what I might ask is that we pull up the survey plan just to show what we're up to here, what the proposal is. Really, what they're looking to do is to create. If we can zoom out just a little bit. If we could zoom out even just a little bit more, if possible. Okay, that's great. Yeah. So currently, this is parceled up into such a state that it's really not workable. So what the proposal is that this will create two new lots, essentially, that are going to be bisected by Swallow Drive. You'll note the Swallow Drive ends and begins to the left and the right, and there's a blank space in the middle. So there would be a southern lot below Swallow Drive and a northern lot above that. There is a proposal that's in our agenda as well under 13I, which discusses potential use for the southern lot. There is no proposal before us this evening to discuss the northern lot. So what this would allow is development to proceed in an orderly fashion and accounting for the eventual extension and completion of Swallow Drive. So the current zoning for all those who may not know is R2, which can host a number of uses, I would suggest. So this resolution concerns itself solely with the subdivision, first of all, the amalgamation of these subject lots into one, and then the orderly subdivision into two lots, allowing for future development.
Okay, any comments or questions on this proposal?
Just very quickly, Your Worship, I think this subdivision of this lot is, of course, necessary in order for the road extension. It won't complete the road at this time, but it'll further the road to extension towards Mason. I think that's necessary for a number of reasons, the least of not which is emergency vehicles response to the subdivision, and also easier access for the residents of the subdivision to access onto Mason, of course, then over to the community campus to access sport fields, recreational facilities, and the school, and eventually plural schools. So I support this resolution in order to subdivide these two lots to facilitate the road. And as Councillor McDonald indicated, it doesn't have any bearing on any future development that might take place in the lot. It simply subdivides those lots.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I concur with Ronnie there. It's divided into two lots, and then looking at the south lot. But at the same time, the question I have is, why is there a picture of in this resolution on the side, a picture of stacked townhousing with 8 units there. I wonder why that's included in this file. I know the areas are R2. If you're going to be required stacked townhousing, you have to ask for conditional use. So tonight, we're just looking at 2 lots, dividing 2 lots, and so
I can
you
speak.
can answer that question.
I can, Deputy Mayor, yeah. So the reason some of those materials are found in that package is because when this initially came to planning committee, there had been, I guess, a multi-part resolution proposed in that the subdivision certainly forms part of it, but also there have been requests to put in on a conditional use basis some fairly intensive stacked townhome style developments on the north and south lots. Planning committee had some concerns about the intensification of the zone and the density proposed. So what we had proposed was that the subdivision itself of the lots was relatively non-controversial, and so we wanted to make sure that we are at least able to address that. So that was pulled out of the packaged resolution, so we can consider that. Now, I will speak a little bit later about in 13I unless, I mean, we could probably discuss them both together. I mean, I don't see a reason why not. But maybe, you know, upon some reflection, Deputy Mayor, I think what I might do is just propose just that. So, Mr. Mayor, if you're in agreement, I might read in Resolution 13I as well, which is PH 048-2025, which proposes the conditional use of that 8-unit stacked townhome. So we consider all these things together.
Yeah, procedurally, I know our CAO stepped out for a second, but Deputy, pardon? Oh, there he is, okay. So procedurally, we do have the precedent of already doing that in a previous, so we're going to, Jeremy, we're going to look at considering 2 resolutions and having 2 separate votes, but having both resolutions that are somewhat similar, fairly similar, as part of the same discussion.
Yeah, as long as Councillor McDonald reads the resolution numbers out and you vote separately on them afterwards, we're okay.
Yep, so I guess the time, if
Yeah.
you don't mind reading the other resolution it's already been, the first resolution's been moved and seconded.
Yeah.
So we need to have this one moved and seconded, and then we can discuss them both together.
Great.
As a point of order, Your Worship, I'm just wondering whether that would create a greater degree of confusion, as this is very specific request to subdivide the lots, and it's for a very specific purpose in order to facilitate road development. To me, that stands alone in and of itself, and any consideration in relation to what would become of those lots or what uses would be made of those lots ought to be separate from that. And I think that better reflects the intent of the thought process of the committee at the time.
Understood. Okay, sorry, you want to say something, CEO? Yep.
You still will be voting on the resolutions separately, even though they're read in at the same time, but either way you want to do it, it's fine, but you will be voting separately, so you'll be voting on this one first, and the other one second.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to decide that we will consider them both separately based on Councillor Dowling's points. So we will talk about this one first, and then we'll consider the second one.
Sure. Yep. So I won't read it in now.
No, not right now. We'll have a vote on this one, and then we'll vote on the next one. Any comments before we vote? Any questions?
No, just to, what Jeff said earlier, the lots are, the builder's looking to build in that area, zone for R2, and he's looking at there's one lot only, right, Jeff? On the right?
Well,
So
okay, I'll just go through this.
I just want them, because the residents in behind that area wanted, like on the street.
Yeah. Currently, there's 2 parcels. They want to be amalgamated and then subdivided into essentially 3 parcels, one of which would be the roadway parcel.
Okay.
Then 2 for development, one on the north side, one on the south side. There is a separate resolution before us later on that discusses a proposal for the south side, but nothing before us this evening on the north side. But this specific resolution only deals with the subdivision. It does not consider any potential development on either of those properties. Yeah.
Okay, does that clarify?
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, just one last thing, to what Councillor Dowling said, this is a necessity that the road will go through for safety reasons and for a number of reasons. So for that reason, I am supporting the subdivision as proposed.
Okay, any other comments or questions before we go to the vote? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Motion carried. Okay, proceed with your second resolution, Councillor.
Okay, so I might go just slightly out of order, just to kind of keep us going. I might just say we are now going to do 13I, which is the PH 048-2025, if that's agreeable with everybody.
No objections? Any objections? Okay, go ahead.
So this is PH 048-2025, SD 004-25, CMLMT Holdings Limited, a conditional use of 8-unit stacked townhouse dwelling complex on the south side of Swallow Drive Extension. It's moved by myself as Chair of Planning and Heritage. Whereas an application has been received from Sean McGuire, who is the owner of CMLMT Holdings Limited, to construct an 8-unit stacked townhouse dwelling complex on the south lot proposed under SD 004-25. A quote stacked townhouse dwelling of up to 12 dwelling units, up to 40% of a block, is a conditional use within the medium density residential R2 zone. Whereas pursuant to section 11.3.3 of the Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw, prior to the issuance of a development permit for a conditional use, council shall ensure that property owners that directly abut the subject property are notified in writing and asked to provide their comments. Whereas on August 14th, 2025, letters were sent out to 13 abutting property owners seeking comments on the proposed conditional semi-detached dwelling uses. The deadline for comments was the end of the day on August 29th, 2025. Whereas 5 letters with comments and a signed petition with 31 signatures from residents in opposition to the proposal were submitted before the comments deadline. Be it resolved, the council grant approval to application from CMLMT Holdings Limited to construct an 8-unit stacked townhouse dwelling complex on the south lot proposed under SD 004-25, subject to the following conditions. 1. Conformance with conceptual drawings submitted to the town prepared by Sable Arc, dated August 22nd, 2025. 2. That a development agreement be executed between the town and the applicant, subject to such terms and conditions as council deems necessary. 3. A detailed servicing plan must be submitted for approval to the Stratford Utility Corporation. 4. A detailed stormwater management plan must be prepared by a qualified engineer and approved by both the Town of Stratford and DTI. 5. A detailed erosion and sedimentation plan must be prepared showing how erosion and sedimentation will be controlled and contained during construction. 6. A retaining wall along the south line will require along the top of the wall a railing or a fence for safety purposes. 7. Once the building has been constructed, a final grading plan must be submitted and approved by the Town of Stratford. 8. Prior to the issuance of the final occupancy permit, the Swallow Drive Extension Road must be deemed as public by the DTI. 9. All other relevant provisions of the Town of Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45 are met. This resolution bears the recommendation of Planning and Heritage Committee as discussed in a meeting held on September the 2nd and an email poll conducted between September the 5th and 10th, 2025. And that is the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, seconder? Thank you. Councillor, I think Councillor Chandler, I don't know who, I think you hit her both at the same time. Neil will sort it out.
So,
okay, discussion.
So not present before us this evening is anything within this, so I'll just refer you back to the materials under 13F, which is PH 045-2025, and I'll direct your attention to attachment number 3, which shows in the bottom lot. Let me get that up here.
My computer kind of crashed.
That explains it.
So maybe you could just, people have it on their computer in front of them, maybe they could just tell us what's the green and what's the...
Sure, I actually, you know...
Is it the greens?
No, Mr. Mayor, some of the Someone got pretty productive with their highlighters and put in a whole bunch of coloration into this document. But really, what's germane for this discussion is the southern section that goes below the highlighted Swallow Drive area.
Yeah.
No, actually, even further, Jeremy, you're slightly off the mark.
Right down there, yeah.
We're actually in the wrong document, anyways. Ms. Watts, can you help?
I wish.
I'm just
I
getting
can't be
there.
replaced, that's all.
You can, no, there's no doubt that your skills are too valuable. So what we're looking at here is number 3.
And that's what 25, 3.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we go there, and so this is where, on this, below the Swallow Drive extension, you'll see essentially what we are looking at here for a stacked semi-detached, which shows 4 separate units, and they're stacked on top of each other for a total of 8 units. Parking to the west, and all of the associated setbacks. So that's the proposed area and the layout of these 8 stacked semi-detached units. They are a conditional use based upon the zone that they are in. And I see Mr. Ruff is quite handily at the microphone. Now, Mr. Ruff, what I might ask you to do is just describe to council here some of the, I guess, how a block is defined, because part of it being conditional use versus another type of use is what percentage of this kind of development is found within a block. So I wonder if you could just walk council through that.
Yep. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, so the definition of block, it's not the clearest definition. Essentially, it's defined as any unit of land consisting of a grouping of land bounded on all sides by watercourses, streets, or large parcel boundaries, otherwise defined in this bylaw. So we did do a review of the area, and we actually, can I get you to go to a different document? Sure. Go to 12A minutes, and then I'll bring it up, because that's got a planning report. And then scroll down, keep going. Okay, stop right there. So that map there, so the 2 parcels highlighted in red are the 2 that have been created. So you have the north lot, south lots. So in terms of the block itself, we were bounding it by Bunbury Road on the north side. We got the Bunbury Park on the east, Nightingale also on the east side as a road, the Grey Group property on the south side, Concord Properties, and then Captain James on the west side. Or top right, down bottom. So that's how the definition of the block was developed, because they're all bounded by streets or by large bodies, like large properties. So in terms of this one, there's actually about 20 lots within here. So in terms of the ones containing stacked townhouses, they're going to be about 2, which are 10%. So they're under the 40% limit, which makes them still conditional. If they were over that 40% limit, they become special permit, and then there's a public meeting component. So that's how the block was defined.
Okay. And the last thing I'll just draw to everyone's attention, because it is always certainly a concern when we're looking at any type of potential development. This is attachment number 4. We'll just scroll to the very bottom. There we go. This shows the parking layout that's proposed. It's as you're all aware, I think at this point, for stacked semis, it's 1.5 units for every unit. So it would be 12 units or 12 parking spaces, which are mandated, and so they're going a little bit above that. And they have a defined area for the garbage bins. Otherwise, Mr. Ruff, I'm wondering if you have anything else to offer in terms of, when planning takes a look at this, what objectives it might satisfy on the official plan, what concerns there might be. Wonder if you could take us through that.
Yeah, for sure. So, as with any conditional use, there's public notification requirements. So, being conditional uses, it's just a button property owners get notification. So in this case, 13 letters went out to the properties around it, and there were some letters came back. I believe we had 5 letters come back. There were common concerns raised within those letters, mainly dealing with potential loss of green space from the subdivision development, the increase of traffic and on-street parking in the neighborhood, the loss of privacy due to the increased number of dwellings in close proximity to existing dwellings, potential negative impact on property values, pedestrian safety concerns due to lack of sidewalks, and then there was also comments related to a similar proposal from 2023 that was turned down, and therefore this one should be, is what the comments were. So some of these concerns have more validity than others. So in terms of when the committee reviewed it, so there's essentially 2 properties with 2 sets of townhouses. So this one is the south one, which is a single building of 8, and then you can you go to 3? Sorry. Yeah. So we're just talking about this bottom one. The committee did take a look at both of them. There was some concerns with the north units, just in close proximity to Captain James. It's got another name, Captain James Crescent. There you go, thanks. Those ones, like the units on the north side are to the left of the property, the ones on the south side are to the right. They're away from existing development. And they border up into the next property over, which won't actually be developed as for residential development. It's too narrow. Essentially, it's going to be a driveway down to other development down the lots further down. So the units on the south side have less of an impact on neighboring properties. Also, these 8 units are actually, there's no green space to lose. It's pretty much brush at the moment. There's no trees coming out. So it's less of an impact on the area. Some of the concerns, parking and traffic, this has been reviewed by transportation already, and they have had no concerns with the proposal. There will be, so Swallow will be a temporary turnaround, so a temporary cul-de-sac up until the time the pink area, which is the remaining portion of Swallow, gets built.
So thank you, Mr. Ruff. I just have one last question, I guess. And I mean, from my perspective, 8 units in a fairly small lot, not small, but like on a relative basis, I guess, for 8 units. Some might say that that's fairly intensive. Is there any concerns about over-densification with those 8 units there?
No. The R2 zones actually don't have density limits on it. So the density limits don't start until you get to the R3 zones or the PERD zones, the planned unit zones. So it's not, like 8 units through here, it's not overly intensive. In theory, if it was a townhouse unit, you'd get a couple less units, but more building footprint. So the building footprint is smaller than what you could potentially have if they were traditional townhouses.
Okay. Sorry, I lied. Just one last question. So just taking into account not just this specific strip that's being proposed to be subdivided, but to the left and to the right, what are the zones that abut this property?
So so pretty much this whole property and everything to the left is R2.
Right.
Everything to the right, with the exception of the park, is low density residential. So the R1.
R1, yeah.
Interesting to note that the dark green portion just north, just above the pink, That's actually slated for park. It's part of the park area. And then just immediately to the south of, or to the bottom of the proposed 8 units, it will also be a park. So it's, you've just got residential on either side, left and right. So it's bounded by the road on the north side and park on the south side.
Okay, thank you very much. Those are my questions.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Ruff?
Just, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Sorry,
Can
go
I
ahead.
ask- Sorry, I'm just confused. But this particular resolution is not in our package, is that right? Or it's come late?
It's come very late.
Okay. Okay, so I'm listening to the information and I'm doing my very best to process it. And I'm not trying to be a stickler gang, but I prefer that the information comes within our guidelines, and that's for a reason, so I can look at them without having to try and make a decision on the spot. And I don't fault anyone, because I think we're probably trying to work with a developer. But referencing and jumping back to this diagram or whatever, I don't feel I can do my best decision-making, and I don't know that anyone can, and that's why we have the outlines in place, that we have the materials well in advance of our meetings. I would prefer to defer this, not to be confrontational or anything, or like I've tried to be progressive today, but I do think that it's asking a lot when we don't have the exact package together.
So you're making a motion to defer?
I am.
Okay, is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay. Okay, so we'll vote on the deferral. Any implications, anything in terms of discussion of the motion for deferral? Any concerns from staff or from planning, or, you know, in general?
Thank you. I'll speak to that. This has been a cumbersome proposal from the get-go, based on the location, the shape of the lot, the subdivision, the temporary cul-de-sac. So there's been a number of issues over the last weeks that we've been trying to deal with, and then trying to get the coordination with the developer. So I think we got it to a point where we're satisfied through planning board and moving forward. And we apologize for the lateness of the resolution. We've been trying to get this thing wrapped up so we could at least get the developer in the ground for the 8 units, and then work on the northern parcel for what could be there, because planning committee had looked at a reversal or a switch of the building and the parking lot on the north side to give it, I would say, more buffer by having the parking lot down below on the west side. So the deferral, I can appreciate and I understand. We were trying to expedite this as best we could, like I said, to get the developer in the ground on the south side while we work on the north side. So that was just an initiative that we tried to take, and not disrespecting council in any way, manner, or form. And this has never happened before, so it's the first time. And all I can say is that it was planning board and me as the director saying, can we take the initiative towards this to maybe make this happen? But if the decision is to defer, I can understand and respect that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Just in relation to this, we did have fairly significant discussion at committee on this, and I'll express what I believed was a takeaway on behalf of the committee's comments that I heard and that I made, was that the north side, is it, with the 2 10-unit stacked, was of concern, given that it wasn't consistent with the character of the neighborhood, and that the south side proposal, in my view, is still not necessarily consistent with the neighborhood, but it does abut a yet-to-be-developed section of the third phase. So committee was considering those, and although they gave some potential consideration to the 8 unit, it was tied in with a reduction in densification on the north side. Since that meeting, and understandably staff were trying to expedite on behalf of the developer, and we all want to see development happen, a poll was taken by email, and that resulted in the recommendation from committee. What I would suggest is that, given the extent of discussion that we had at committee and the inference that the 8 unit would be acceptable, in the context of the poll, the committee wouldn't have had the opportunity to have a more in-depth discussion about the project overall and that 8 unit development specifically as it exists, and whether that decision would have been the same or not, I don't know. But I certainly would agree with a deferral to bring it back to committee to have that discussion and come with a fresh, if the developer's intent to bring forth a development proposal for the south side specifically, then to do that with the benefit of full discussion at committee and a recommendation based on discussion rather than last minute email poll. Understanding that email polls are good in many circumstances, I just think that we're losing a lot in relation to the capability to have interactive discussion among the committee to see if in fact the committee does, after that discussion, still support the resolution as it stands. And that's a key consideration for council, along with consistency with the developments within the neighborhood. So I will support, in short, I will support Councillor Chandler's motion to defer this.
Okay. I might ask the chair of planning when the next, if there's any possibility of having a special planning committee meeting, or is it something that has to wait till the beginning of next month?
I think realistically, the next planning meeting's set for September the 29th. So, I mean, it's what, the 10th today. I mean, I don't think there's really time to have a special planning. So, I mean, but I mean, the good news is if the council wants to defer it, the next planning meeting's not that far away. We could have some more discussion. Yeah.
And I guess maybe there could be a discussion with the developer about, you know, if this is going to create undue hardship or whatever, that we can look at doing whatever we can to expedite it. But somehow there needs to be time for council to really have a look at the whole proposal and have a discussion and have it discussed at planning committee in a comprehensive way is what I'm hearing. So with those comments, I guess I will, unless there are further comments, I'll call for a vote on the deferral motion. Is that procedurally correct? We vote on the procedure, on the deferral motion first, and then if it's deferred, then there's no need to vote on the moved and seconded motion that was on the floor.
Just vote on the motion to defer.
Okay, so the motion to defer, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Okay, so this is hereby deferred until our next meeting of council.
Thank you. Certainly, you know, Councillor Chandler, absolutely agree with what you're saying about making sure you have all the information you need in a timely fashion. I think just the way this kind of came out on the email poll, we did what we could to get it there, but you're right. I mean, there's no point in making a hasty decision. There's no need for it, so.
And
yeah.
I have great respect for all the work that the staff does and working with developers, building relationships and trying to work with and accommodate, et cetera. I understand that. But obviously we have a very engaged group of residents here there's been petition, like there's a lot of concern, and I want to make sure that I have the time with it, and that we are following our own policies to ensure that we can make thoughtful decisions.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good discussion, thank you. Oh, sorry, Councillor Jackson.
Just one thing on that. I hope there's a possibility that we can.
You hope what?
Just since we did have an email poll on this one, and you know, it's still fresh with planning committee. If things have been addressed that need to be addressed, I'd love to see us try to entertain moving this forward with a special meeting, if possible, before October. If we're narrowing down any issues that we did have to a fine point. And I appreciate that, you know, the lateness of the proposal or the motion. That's no fault of staff or anyone. We're all doing our best here to try to entertain it. And I do agree with Councillor Chandler on, you know, wanting to be able to really consider this. But I think if we're getting down to, you know, a very fine point, it'd be nice if we can try, given the time of the year and things like that, to get to a point where, you know, development is going to happen here. I am 100% planning to support development in this area with the road going through and something that's going to work for the community. So the sooner we can do that, the better, respecting all the parties involved. I'd like to do that.
Well, I mean, what we can do, Councillor, is, I mean, I'm maybe planning staff to reach out to the committee and see if there's something we can convene even by Zoom or something like that. Don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest, is if planning staff could reach out to the committee, get some further comment very soon, and then perhaps we call a special council meeting. Wouldn't take very much time, and then Councillor Chandler would have more time to review the information, and we might be able to still have a vote on this fairly soon, and give the developer an answer on whether or not he could proceed and try to get into the ground this year.
Yeah, I think I'd be happy to do that.
Okay,
Thanks.
And I just have one other thing, and like you guys are going to be like, stop it, but we know our meeting times, and we know when our packages come out, and in managing everyone's expectations, I will always have a challenge if I don't feel I've had enough time with it. That's just me, and it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just the way it is. So we know we have our committee of the whole, we know we have our council meetings. Those are 2 weeks apart, and we can add special like as needed. But to avoid these situations where we haven't had as much time, we could maybe just consider that there will be time in 2 weeks or whatever it is.
This was an oversight on our part, and I'll take responsibility on the final review on the package before it goes out, so we'll try not to have this happen again, but if we can work with the planning committee and the developer to see if we can look at this fairly soon, and I do appreciate the fact that you didn't have time to review it, and we'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Okay, thank you. Now, we have, I believe we have one more resolution. Councillor McDonald?
Yes, we do. We have one more package of resolutions for your
Oh,
consideration.
yeah, package resolutions, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, and I do apologize about this moving back and forth and shifting numbers and whatnot. So we're considering 13G, which is resolution PH 046-2025, RZ 001-25 from Cornerstone Church, going from a TCI to TCMU. This is for a second reading, and it is moved by myself as chair of Planning and Heritage. It reads, whereas an application has been received from the Cornerstone Baptist Church for a request to rezone PID 1016377 located 295 Shakespeare from the Town Center Institutional Zone to the Town Center Mixed Use Zone. Whereas the applicant is proposing the zoning change to the future future creation of 3 medium-density residential lots along Shakespeare and for the expansion of the existing institutional church building. And whereas in accordance with the Stratford Zoning and Development Bylaw number 45, 60 notification letters were sent out to property owners whose parcels were within 150 meters of the subject property. 2 advertisements were placed in the Guardian newspaper on July the 12th and 19th, 2025. Signage was placed on the property, and the proposed zoning amendment was advertised on social media to solicit input and to notify residents of the public meeting. Whereas a public meeting was held on July 21st, 2025, with 11 residents in attendance and was streamed live on the town's YouTube channel. Residents were given until July 25th to submit their comments. Whereas only one person in attendance at the public meeting asked questions regarding the intended purpose of the rezoning request, and no written comments were submitted to the town regarding this proposed rezoning. Be it resolved that bylaw number 45V, a bylaw to amend the town of Stratford zoning and development bylaw number 45, be hereby read and approved for a second time. And this resolution bears recommendation of Planning, Development, and Heritage Committee on August the 4th, 2025.
Seconder? Oh, Gordy. Thank you. Okay, discussion.
I'll just draw your attention to the conceptual site plan, which is attachment number 3. It just shows exactly what they're looking to do. Number 3, please.
And this, Wendy's getting us back very shortly.
Well, you're doing great now. You're on a roll. Yeah. Yeah. Now that we recognize your value. So really, this shows exactly what their Cornerstone is proposing to do. They're looking to rezone it so that some of the uses can be expanded on lots 1, 2, and 3, which are shown on the conceptual layout. Currently, under the TCI zone, any sort of residential use is not really contemplated. So this will allow them to access some funding to fund their expansion of their facility. They've indicated in the past, that certainly at the public meeting, the use that their church gets, and it's a heavy use between community programming, youth programming, seniors programming, as well as their regular services. They provide certainly valuable religious services to this community and the greater community at large. They've been a good neighbor here in Stratford, just up the road from the town hall. And also this would help us increase our housing stock. So all net positive as far as I'm concerned. So certainly I'm in support of second reading and then further adoption.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Okay, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried.
Okay, and then so the final resolution for this evening from planning is PH 047-2025, which is RZ 001-25, Cornerstone Baptist Church, adoption of the rezoning from TCI to TCMU, moved by myself as Chair, Planning and Heritage. It reads, whereas bylaw number 45V, a bylaw to amend the town of Stratford zoning and development bylaw, was read and approved the first time on August 13th, 2025. Whereas bylaw number 45V, a bylaw to amend the town of Stratford zoning and development bylaw, was read and approved the second time on September the 10th, 2025. Be it resolved that bylaw number 45V, a bylaw to amend the town of Stratford zoning and development bylaw number 45, be hereby adopted, and that the mayor and chief administrative officer be authorized to affix their signatures and the corporate seal of the town thereto, and to be formally declared the said bylaw passed. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Planning, Development, and Heritage Committee on August the 4th, 2025.
Seconder? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do think that's everything.
Got through everything.
Yeah.
Earned your money tonight.
Yeah, almost as much as Mr. Crosby.
Okay, we're now back to our regular agenda, with the exception we've already covered infrastructure, item number 13. So not to put you on the spot, Councillor Cox, but we now are going to go back to what was formerly item number 10, recreation, culture, and events. As you chair that committee, I'd like you to give your report, if you would. Thank you.
All right. The following is an overview of projects and items being worked on within the Recreation, Cultural, and Events Department. Recreation and Cultural Events did not meet in July, by the way. Stratford Community, or in August. Stratford Community Campus work is now underway on the next phase of the Stratford Community Campus, with construction progressing on the trail system, sports field, and expanded parking areas. The phase of the project will significantly enhance the usability and accessibility of the campus for residents. The site preparation and grading has begun as part of the foundational work in place to support long-term sustainability. An example of this is the fencing tender closed on August 7th, so we're excited to get that underway. And the lighting tender remains open, but it will be closed on August the 28th. Looking ahead, the project team anticipates the trails will be open and accessible by the public by the end of September. I know I've had different questions about that from different residents, also about the sporting fields too. So sporting fields are scheduled to be seeded by mid-September, with the exception that they will be playable for the following year. So there's been some questions obviously about that. Stratford Youth Center and Council. The Stratford Youth Center has been busy, rewarding, and had a very rewarding summer season with lots of programs on, initiatives that were engaged local youth in the area. The major highlight was the completion of 3 separate leadership trips to Nova Scotia involving 22 of our youth. These trips offered unique learning opportunities, team building experiences, exposure to new environments, and support the center and goals of fostering leadership, and also with the personal development of each of the youth. The youth summer camp based on the youth center has been running successfully throughout the summer months, with weekly enrollment ranging from 20 to 25 children. We've had that now for years. Look forward to continue doing that, and I know that's something a lot of youth in our area look forward to every year. And it offers structured recreation programming, creative activities, it supports social engagement in a fun, safe setting. The Youth Center Garden Club continues its weekly program throughout the summer, led by instructor Heidi, and there's actually 10 youth that helped carry that on this summer, and they did a fantastic job with that. So nice to see that the Gardening Club's still in action there. The meaningful milestone has been reached this summer with the awarding of the Cheryl Duffy Service Award for 2025 to 3 outstanding Youth Center members, Edie Duncan, Arona Dugay, and Abe Waterman. Are scheduled to be, Zoe Sharpley. Each recipient is graduating this year and either attending Holland College or PEI, and they will be receiving $650. Planning is also underway for the Cheryl Duffy Memorial Walk, which will take place on Saturday, September 27th in Cotton Park. And as you know, this walk supports youth programming in the community. Is a very, very important fundraiser for our youth programming, so we hope that residents do get out and support this. Cheryl's a fantastic resident here, very supportive of Stratford, and also she was an RCMP officer, did a fantastic job, and we lost her too early to cancer. Preparation for the fall season are ongoing, and the Youth Center registrations set to open September 1st. Staff look forward to welcoming both new and returning members as programs resume for the school year. Pride in the Park was held on 27th of July. The town hosted its very first Pride in the Park celebration from noon to 2. I personally thought it was a really well-run event. I got to play the DJ that event, so which is kind of fun. So it was good. Jill was doing some amazing work around the barbecue and keeping things running there, and did a great job. There was different staff and Wendy and all kinds of people, and forget the lady's name, that Wendy that did the aerobics and stuff. Dawn. Her name was Dawn. She was unreal, and she had all the kids participating. She was very, very, very good. And
the DJ was good too.
Well, I thought DJ did okay. And so the thing is that it was a unique and thought-provoking, for us to hold this. And I thought the people that came felt very welcomed. And they also expressed the appreciation for the inclusiveness that we set up for them. And it was a real, true, feel-good community gathering. So I thought that was an excellent event. Fall Fest planning is well underway. Fall Fest scheduled Saturday, September 22nd till Sunday, 28th. The signature events, there will be some family-friendly activities celebrating the autumn season and fostering community spirit. So hopefully everybody can get involved in the Fall Fest. Cotton Park Barn exhibit. The Cotton Park Barn will host a new exhibit from August 19th to September 2nd, featuring the work of local artist John McPartland, titled Absent. And the exhibit promised to offer unique and thought-provoking artistic experience for residents and for visitors. The town's commitment to promoting local artists and providing accessible cultural programming is second to none, especially in public spaces such as Cotton Park. And we hope that people do get down and get a chance to see these themselves. They're very, very exceptional. And you might have noticed some of the murals that we have around Stratford now. And I think so far what I've heard is very, very positive feedback on all of these. So it's great to see that. The 2025 mural artistic or artist bursary was awarded to Chantal Duplessis, a talented Prince Edward Island resident. Chantal is currently developing mock-ups for her first mural, which the Recreation Events and Culture team works to identify a suitable town-owned wall for this project. So great to see that Chantal is awarded that, and I'd like to see we have some new artists that are up and coming, and look forward to see what they can do. And one potential location for some of our work will be the garage wall at the town hall. The poppy project just seems to grow and really remains quite impressive. We had hoped for about 4,000 poppies, and as of August 7th, 2025, it was over 11,000, so almost triple what we had thought that we would have got from residents and from people that want to volunteer for this. The initiative highlights the power of collective creativity and remembrance, and we thank all contributors for their ongoing participation in this project. The ferry trail at Cotton Park, significant progress continues on the ferry trail in Cotton Park. The willow artwork installations are well underway, with the butterfly sculpture completed, and that was really is a marvelous thing. I hope everybody had a chance to see that. In addition, wood carvers Nicholas Brown and Abe Waterman are scheduled to be on site in August and complete custom carving. So it's really a great chance to take your family or even to go down by yourself and check out some of the great work that these artisans have done down in Cotton Park. Programs and fall activities, fall programming registration are set to open September 4th, with classes and activities scheduled to begin in October. A full lineup of cultural and recreational offerings will be shared with residents in the coming weeks. The town of Stratford has been bustling with sporting success and activities through the past several weeks. Most notably, the Stratford hosted the Canadian Old Timers Baseball Nationals from August 1st to 3rd, Lower McNeil Field, welcoming teams from across Canada. Stratford's youth baseball teams have also enjoyed tremendous success, with the 15U AA team claiming championships at both the Summerside tournament on August 3rd and the Cornwall tournament July 6th. The 15U AAA Eastern Express team will represent PEI at the Landing Championship in Newfoundland this September, and we're also crowned champions of the Gary Cormier tournament in Moncton on July 13th. Adding success, the 13U AAA Eastern Express went undefeated in round-robin play to win the Tubby Melanson Memorial Tournament in Moncton on July 27th, and the 11U A Stratford team won the Cornwall Tournament on August 3rd. On the softball side, the under-17A team earned a silver medal at the Summerside Showdown on July 20th. The under-15 AA Stratford Corvée squad will represent PEI at the Eastern Canadian Championships from the 21st to 24th. Sorry, that did happen in August. Stratford is also proud to host the U13 AA Eastern Canadian Softball Championship during the same weekend at Upper McNeil and Bunbury Fields. And finally, retirement, and it's good to point this out, and we also have, there's a retirement, and we also have a new team member. In staffing news, Tina McKenzie officially retired from her position as Recreation Administration Clerk on July 31st, following years of dedication service to the town of Stratford. Her professionalism, positive perseverance, and presence will be greatly missed by both colleagues and community members. The position was recently posted, and the town received an impressive 99 applications. We are pleased to welcome Christy J. as a successful candidate. Christy will begin her new role, or she did begin her new role on Monday, August 11th, and works from 8 to 4. We look forward to her filling out this role for many years to come. And that is my report.
Thank you. That's a very comprehensive report, Councillor. Thank you. Okay, any questions or comments on Councillor Cox's report?
I'll just indicate, oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor, I didn't see your hand. You go ahead.
Go ahead. You guys know what I'm going to say, but I have to say it anyway. The murals, this was a vision that happened like a long time ago. It took till now to actually enact. We have had, in our most recent Facebook post generated from the town, almost 900 engagements. 900 people liked that mural at Cotton Park. 54 shared it, over 100 people commented. If you don't see the value of public art at this point as far as our ability to engage with our residents, have out-of-town people come and see the beautiful assets that we have. Like, please remember this when it comes time to budget, and I will continue on my rant. When people feel engaged, when they feel pride in their town, when they see that beauty, they're more connected, they take more initiative, they take more care. So it is very wise to see the multiple benefits of these things. And additionally, in the poppy project, close to 12,000 poppies coming from children's, school groups, seniors groups, people in our town, outside of our province, outside of our country. If you cannot feel the impacts of that, take a moment and realize these things are successful and we need to prioritize them. They do reach out and speak to a large section of our population, and we bring them in, and we remember that as we go forward with the community campus and the importance of arts and culture, space, and programming.
Thank you, Councillor. Very, very insightful comments. Thank you.
Kind of scared to open my mouth.
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
I was saying I'm kind of scared to open my mouth. But as Councillor Chandler knows, I've always been behind this, and no, I've said at last meeting, I will say at this meeting, they look fantastic. The engagement is definitely there, and I've heard it from folks that normally wouldn't say anything about town buildings or anything like that. So I do, we will definitely at budget time consider the value we've gotten for the increased budget amount for those things. So I think it's a great thing, but I do think we all support them, and I think it's right to, you know, give credit to the folks that have been maybe trying to sway some of us over the years, but definitely there is value in kind of bigger bang for our bucks that way. So that's about as good as you're going to get for me after the lecture, but thank you.
Great comments from the Chair of Finance.
I'm not looking for any credit. I was just somebody who sees the value. No, I did nothing as far as the murals go, other than see that it's a valuable investment and that these public art installations, that they are meaningful. So I didn't do anything in implementing it other than to say go, 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 and to try and encourage you guys to see their value.
Yeah, I totally agree. I didn't expand on that, but I had a long report. But I totally agree what you're saying, Councillor Chandler. And there was different people, especially in one of our art pieces, got a lot of conversation in the community. And to those people, I look forward to saying that I told you so, that it'd be good. So I think this is going to be. I just want to say I told you so, that'd be better. So I think it's a bad joke, but I think overall the murals are magnificent. We come across the bridge; they're fantastic. What's happening at Cotton Park's fantastic, and I think like arts, you know, at one point took a bit of a backseat here, and I think now it hasn't. Like it hasn't totally gone to the forefront, but it's coming forward, and we're seeing more arts and culture here in Stratford, and we're going to need to keep pushing that. And I think what Councillor Chandler is saying is that we have to remember this and keep pushing forward with this. And I fully agree with what she stated there. So this is a good day for us.
Okay, thank you. Councillor McDonald has been trying to get in on this conversation, so I'll give the floor to him.
No, I just, all I really wanted to say was I think what I'm mostly looking forward to out of the whole public art is that, you know, we did identify a young artist and granted them a bursary and look forward to their contributions, and I think that's a positive thing, certainly for the town. And I just wanted to, as Councillor Cox in his report noted, recognize all the success of our various youth sports teams over the past very busy spring-summer sports season. But also, concurrently to that, they wouldn't have a place to play without the very capable efforts of our recreational staff to make sure that those fields are done the way they need to be. And I just want to acknowledge all of their contributions to making safe and you know, world-class areas for our kids and athletes to play in. So well done to everybody there.
Yeah. And Melanie Weatherby did a fantastic job with the poppies and different kind of stuff. And I know Wendy and the other staff done a phenomenal job, and Jeremy Pierce has done above and beyond with a lot of these recreation things. So we have a staff that's working way harder than some of us give them credit for. So I really appreciate all the staff does.
And the current chair of recreation and the previous chair of recreation have done a great job as well.
That was before that.
Okay, okay. We're through patting each other in the back. We'll now move to the next, thanks for your report, Councillor, and.
Steve, can I say a few words?
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you do,
Oh, excuse me.
I have to go, unfortunately. I have to go
Okay.
pick up one of my
No.
children. So I just want to say,
No.
I do have to go, folks, but I
No,
do.
that's understandable. Go ahead.
Thank you, everybody.
Just everything with the great programs, the Fall Fest, the Poppy Project, Fairy Trail in the Cotton Park, and things just people talk about. Pride in the Park. I was out of the province that time, and I loved to be down and participate in that. It was nice, all that great feeling, the healthy feeling, and pride in our town, and also like the burn, the mural down there was unreal. And speaking to that artist, what a young professional young man, and it's just me and Ronnie spoke to him for about a half an hour and or 45 minutes maybe, and what a great young man, and you can see his life is all figured out, and he was down there enjoying it, and people walking, speaking to him, so on, and with the park itself now, it's they get weddings coming in there, people taking pictures on the wall, people going down, conversations starting. It's just a great idea, a great thing with the mural there, and even to move things further, I'd like to see that Cotton Park. I know we moved the burn. I'd like to see the inside of the burn developed or something. Inside the burn with that historic wood and so on, and then have an area down there and maybe put our heads together and so on and have that some air kind of area. But everything is budgets, but I know for a fact I'd be leaning on the finance. Our chair this year, and how we always, I mean, Jeremy supports it, increased budget, and he wants that, and he's got to find the money and support that budget, so.
That's a good point. We'll be starting the budget process probably late November, eh? So that's a good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Save that thought for budget time.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if you go to all these cities and towns, you travel the world, arts and culture is number one. It's just, you see it out there, you're just looking at it, and you're just sitting beside somebody and creating that conversation and something. With those big children down there now, you walk down there, you think of your grandchildren, and the other side, the flowers and peace and everything else, and and everything else. So it's just great.
It's inspiring, yeah.
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 And they're completely accessible.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay to see them, like they're
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for great comments and great report, Councillor Cox, and I think thank everybody for their contributions. The next item on the agenda is Committee of the Whole, and I don't think we have anything to report. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry?
I need a resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a resolution there. Yes, there is. I'm sorry, I missed it. Sorry.
I got so caught up in all the great chat here.
No, go ahead.
So, all right, here's our resolution. Number RC 002-2025, sports field lighting, design, and build services. Whereas the town of Stratford is developing the Stratford Community Campus as part of its long-term vision to promote recreation, cultural, and social opportunities for residents. And whereas proposals were received on August 28, 2025 for design and build services for sports field lighting and for 2 ball fields within the community campus. And whereas one complaint submission was received, which was evaluated by a team of 3 for completeness and conformance for the requirements of the request for proposals. And whereas the proposal received from Hanson Electric Limited was found to have fully met the requirements of the request for proposals to have shown that the proposed project team is duly qualified and experienced to complete the work. And whereas the proposal fee of $783,000, excluding HST, is within the capital budget allocated for the development of outdoor recreational facility for the community campus. Be it resolved that the sports field lighting design and build services project be awarded to Hanson Electric for the proposed price of $783,000 excluding HST. And see if I can get this thing to scroll, anything else in the bottom here. This resolution bears the recommendation of the Recreation, Culture, and Events Committee as confirmed via an email poll conducted on September 4th and 5th, 2025.
And you're moving that, right?
Yeah, move that.
Okay, seconder. Seconder, Councillor Jackson. Okay. All right, discussion. Any discussion?
I just have a question, Your Worship, on the funding for the 783,000. Does that come from any specific funding source, a grant, or is it coming from a specific fund that we've set out, or?
It's just through gas tax funding.
Okay. I'm just wondering whether in instances where we have a significant expenditure that is covered off by a funding source, we shouldn't include that in the resolution just for clarity, for enduring records, I guess, to say $783,000 was expensed and the origin of that was federal funding through gas tax.
Yeah, I think you have a good point there, that it's important to recognize, you know, our supporters, you know, at the federal and provincial level, and the importance of that support. So I think that's a good point, and I think for the future, you're not suggesting that we...
No, I support this resolution.
Okay, so for the future, and I think this is a good point, that we need to make sure that we include information about the funding source and give credit to people, you know, whatever level of government is supporting us, or whatever fund. I know the Canada Games Legacy Fund is supporting some of the infrastructure at the ball field as well, or at the community campus as well. So I think it's important that we give, you know, recognition to those entities that are, you know, supporting our town. So that's a good point, Councillor. Thank you.
And, sorry, if I could just add to that, and I don't think this is the situation here, but in regards to services provided in connection with the community campus, if there is an RFP and a cost associated, if there's ever going to be any in-kind work, is that a possibility? I think it's important, just going forward as we do maneuver through community campus building at some point, that what Councillor Dowling said, and then some, if it's tied into any services provided for potential naming or anything with the community campus. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think just from a finance standpoint, I think it's probably important, or more important, to get the costing down before we determine how that is kind of, like if we're saying it's 700 and X number of dollars here, determining what the real value of that work is, then, you know, if there is a contribution later on, maybe it is sorted out then, but rather than putting the cart before the horse that way a little bit.
I assume the value of the work is this price.
I think the point has been well made, and I think we'll leave it to staff to make sure those are incorporated in future resolutions and in any promotional or social media posts about the, you know, about the funding as well, that this is important, that we provide credit to the sources of the funding. Okay. So we got a moved and seconded motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Motion carried. Okay, thanks for your resolution and your report, Councillor Cox. And we'll now move on to Committee of the Whole. I believe that there's no report from Committee of the Whole. Sustainability. I'll ask Councillor Jill Chandler to give her report.
I'm going to make this really, really brief. We hadn't met over the course of the summer. There will be a meeting this month, the end of this month, or beginning of October. Yeah. We mentioned it last time, the Hero Forest tree planting event, which celebrated the town's 30th anniversary. 260 trees were planted at Fullerton's Creek, and that was part of the Hero Forest, honoring community heroes. And the next steps include signage to be installed. There's also another event, the Community Garden Composting event in partnership with the Department of Agriculture. And that was 2 composters installed at the community gardens. And the goal is to process garden waste and produce compost for gardeners. So it's a pilot project. Results will be evaluated in the spring. Next week is the Climate Quest exhibition. That is September 15th through 21st at the Stratford Gymnasium. And it's an interactive exhibit from Science North with hands-on activities, a climate action show, and sustainability tips. Audiences all ages are welcome, residents and visitors alike. In regards to the community or business community updates, the 2025 business survey is coming soon. The questions are finalized, and of course, businesses are encouraged to participate, and I'd encourage you to encourage businesses to participate. It would be lovely to hear from them and hear how we can work with them. We are planning an upcoming fall business meeting to reconnect town local businesses to support future planning. And the diversity inclusion updates, there's the new resident welcome event, and that's happening this Saturday from 10 until 11:30. And all are welcome, new residents of Stratford, and it's to meet town staff, council members, and community groups. So that concludes the sustainability, or I guess the transit graph is part of the sustainability as well, isn't it? I don't know if you guys have had a peek at the transit graph. It is showing some decline. I suspect that next month we will see an increase because we will have the inner town routes reflected, right? So hopefully we'll see that. And I was kind of just doing some investigating, and like if you look at, I'm not a data expert by any means, but if you look at the graphs and you look year over year, and you look last year, November 2024, I think, is when we had our peak ridership, and then it starts to shift. And I'm going to make an educated guess or echo what has been said, but October 2024 was when immigration policies shifted, and we've heard this in other places that we are seeing impacts with a reduction of newcomers, and we're seeing it in other institutions. And it is fair to say, like actually when I literally traced it back to the month, that we can see variation. So we'll wait and see and hope that we have some rebound next month where we have expanded services and routes within Stratford.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any comments or questions on Councillor Chandler's report?
Just wanted to mention that Maddie Crowell was out on maternity leave for some time, and she's back with the team. So her and Kadaf will be advancing the sustainability portion of the CAO department further here, and looking forward to them working together.
That's great, thank you. I just want to make a point, I guess, before we move on about the business survey. I think that's really important, especially in light of the fact that we're considering looking at what we can do to incentivize businesses to both locate here and to help them prosper. So I think this is a really important business survey, and I look forward to. I think I would encourage every councillor to go and businesses in their ward to visit them and to speak about the survey and sort of make yourself known that you are interested and that it is something that's important to you, and it is a valuable tool for the town in our future planning and our decision making. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just, since you brought that up, I was just going to throw out to the floor that one of the ideas that I had was for us to create a letter that we could provide to you folks when the survey comes out, when we have the business meeting set, and perhaps even so we don't get duplication, but perhaps those that are interested could take on visiting some of the businesses, and we could sort of assign certain areas and things like that. So
perfect.
if anyone around the table is interested in that, let me know, and between myself and Councillor Chandler, we'll work on that.
Don't forget, it's an election year coming up. It's an election year coming up.
I've been to A&W enough for about 10 elections since they've been here.
I think it's important, and that we do keep those relationships, and that they know also we are accessible, not just the staff, but the councillors, that we, want to hear from them. They're a specific population within our town, and their needs are important too. So.
Okay, any other comments or questions before we move on? Okay, thanks for your report. I guess it's a good segue into intergovernmental affairs and accountability. That's your file as well, your committee?
Yes, and I will make this quick as well. We had a big break, of course, over the summer, although there has been ongoing work. The key performance indicator development are being collected and added to, the KPI platform and the presentation plan for September meeting. Government relations, you spoke to this already, as did CAO Crosby. Staff engagement staff engagement, and staff has been involved in transit negotiations, RCMP collaboration, economic development efforts, and community and partner engagement. So still lots of work happening and lots of meetings happening, and we'll have a more elaborate report following our next meeting.
Oh, thank you. I just want to make one point that I think it's really important that, and I was really glad to see a number of deputy mayor and councillors out at the social that was hosted by our member of parliament. I know it can be seen as a political event, but at the same time, I think it's important that we attend those kind of events for all parties that are doing anything in our jurisdiction within Stratford, so that we're able to have the opportunity to network and to let them know about Stratford issues and have an informal discussion, because oftentimes you're able to impart information that they're not aware of or that's useful to them in advocating for Stratford. So every opportunity like that, I think every councillor should take advantage of, because I think it benefits the town in the long run. So I think there's going to be some, especially if the rumors are true, that there's going to be an upcoming election, provincial election, that we really speak to as many potential candidates from Stratford as possible. Okay.
Yeah, and just to add to that, that was a great turnout, and that was a great event, and there were different residents and so on, like different than I typically see. So
yeah.
I met new people, and it's great, and those relationships are important. I don't see them as political at all.
Okay.
But we're working towards, hopefully, similar goals that we need support in. So
Yeah, we're talking to our new member. He has great support for town of Stratford, and we have to support him too, right? So
yes.
So it's been nice to go to those functions.
Yeah, we can't be partisan, but we must be open, and we're all working towards, benefiting Stratford and trying to get what's best for the town and for our residents. Okay, if there's no more comments or questions on the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, we'll move on. Inquiries by members of council. Is there anything about the town that anyone would like to inquire about? No? Okay, we'll move on to other committees. Deputy Mayor, Stratford Seniors Complex, you chair that committee.
Yep.
You want to go ahead?
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Your Worship. We didn't meet last month. September, our committee report here. Contractor was in to look at the heating component on our dryer in the building. Chris is working on getting prices to replace remaining patios with patio stones for eventually turning the concrete pads. Kim will talk to Kedaf and Maddie for advice on cutting back trees around the seniors complex. The contractor was in to fix a leaking pipe in the furnace room in the hallway, and the contractor was also in looking at the fire panel to reset button. There was a beeping noise. In the fall, we were going to look at removing some plants that are close to building that the tenants are not caring for, and there are currently 25 people right now on a waiting list, so that's my seniors report there for September.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? Thanks for your report, Deputy Mayor. Okay, we'll move on to appointments to committees. Any appointments? No. I do have a proclamation. I'll just declare that proclamation right now. It's from the Arthritis Awareness Month. Whereas nationwide community support has been critical throughout the Arthritis Society of Canada's 77-year history, enabling the organization to fulfill its mission to fight the fire of arthritis with research and advocacy, innovation, information, and support. And whereas arthritis is a serious disease that causes debilitating pain, restricts mobility, and diminishes quality of life. 6 million people in Canada, 1 in 5, live every day with the brutal realities of arthritis, and there is no cure. And whereas during Arthritis Awareness Month this September, we will raise awareness, mobilize and engage communities to understand the devastating impact of arthritis and stand with us to fight for an arthritis-free future. We recognize the work underway to develop a nationwide arthritis action plan to take on the big issues of arthritis, including prevention, equitable access to care and treatment, and elevating the urgency of the disease. And whereas the Arthritis Society of Canada is Canada's national charity dedicated to extinguishing arthritis for good, therefore, be it resolved that I, Steve Ogden, Mayor of Stratford, do hereby proclaim the month of September as Arthritis Awareness Month in the town of Stratford. In witness thereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the town of Stratford to be affixed thereto. And I signed this on this day, 2025. That's my proclamation. Okay, we'll move on to other business. Any other business anyone would like to bring to the table? Go ahead, CAO Crosby.
Just wanted to remind council of the staff and council social event tomorrow at Red Shores. It starts at 5:30, so hope to see you all there.
Thank you.
One last thing, if I may, Your Worship, and maybe Wendy can correct me, or Phil, on the official plan. There's open house, I think, next week? Just internal, okay, sorry about that.
The external ones will be
In October, sorry about that. Just want to make sure I didn't miss it. Thanks.
Yes, you should be.
All right, if no other business, I'll entertain, sorry, go ahead.
Just on Saturday, your new residents, we're on the Saturday,
Yeah.
for new residents.
New residents meetup, yeah.
Yeah, meet up, hope there's lots of coffee and muffins and some fruit and so on, so let's go, hope to see a few people there.
No pressure.
All right.
I just want to add one thing too before we're done.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just, I guess it's other business a bit, but it's amazing when you do sell a place, and we've all sold houses, but like I didn't really know where Rush's Transfer was located. I didn't know they had storage units. I didn't know very much about they're in Stratford, about with their location and things that they do. And yeah, and I really got a chance to talk to Stephen and Mark and really see how it's run. And we have 2 units up there right now, and we are moving to the new townhouses beside Lady Assumption Church. So we're just waiting for our unit to be completed. But it's amazing how when you start to dab in different areas, you get to meet different businesses. And we've done that, my wife and I, in the past month and a half, 2 months. And we got some great businesses here in Stratford. And I think, we'll continue to salute all of them, and so glad that they made our community their home. So
That's good to hear.
Your letter for them.
I will be. I definitely will be. I will definitely do that. I think I kind of talked about that last year, but this whole, anyway, it's all
Great,
good.
thank you. Any other business anyone wants to bring to the table at this time? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment. So moved. We're now adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Y'all earned your money tonight.